moving on. Keep moving on.
It's on you.
Oh, look, we talked before the stream went live, and Brennan definitely said, hey, don't worry, I'm going to handle all the intros and setting up and stuff like that, and so I'll hand it off to you, so don't worry about it. And I was thinking, oh, cool. And so here we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari, and I'm joined by MXL Lol, our usual producer, was going to be my co-caster for just a little bit as we get into tonight, which is a very, very big night for Group B here in the Gold League at Zero Gravity Gaming. Hyperion Gaming is going up against Coin Flip rawr. We got a good game ready for you today because it's a very complex web of foldy sheets that we have ready to go for this evening. That is going to be certainly interesting to see how the top two is going to be after this week, which is a really important week for Group B here. There's a whole lot of outcomes that can shake up how the playoffs are going to play, and this is a very important game to see how it's going to play, how these tiebreakers are going to end out in the game. As we already have some super spicy picks being thrown about already. MXL, are you ready for the madness that is going to be this evening?
Oh, yeah. I'm extremely excited to be around tonight to watch these games. Worth noting the overarching storylines tonight. If you are a fan of Hyperion, if you want them to be in the upper bracket, they need a win here tonight against rawr. And doesn't matter if it's 2-0, doesn't matter if it's 2-1. They need a win first and foremost. If they win and Infernal Dive loses, they're second. It's that easy. It gets a little more complicated when you get into Hyperion winning and Infernal Dive winning. But generally speaking, the moral of the story is going to be Hyperion needs to win, Infernal Dive needs to lose. We're watching one of the games. The other one, it's up in the air. It can happen. New Wave has looked a little shaky, so we'll see if they're able to pull off that sweep. Or not sweep, rather. The miracle upset, of course. But yeah. Already, we're focusing on this game. It's Hyperion, it's rawr, it's going to be a fun time, and some fun bot lanes already. Jinx Nautilus, tons of fun, super strong bot lane, and I'm assuming it's going to be a Ziggs flex between mid and bot, but I'd like to see Ziggs Leona. It's kind of entertaining as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ziggs Leona has been a lane that we've seen a whole lot in the past, and you know, if we're talking about the meta of League of Legends right now, where you know you have to throw a bunch of resources into your AD carry in order to be most successful, Ziggs isn't exactly a bad option, right? There's like oh yeah, wow, Udyr, definitely an interesting lock in here. Ziggs isn't exactly a bad option, but there certainly are a whole lot better ones to be sure. And Ziggs definitely has an easy time in that bot lane. Builds up can stack that tier pretty safely early on, has a pretty safe laning phase as well. But, you know, in that mid lane as well, definitely not a bad choice either. So I'm liking this flex pick for sure here. As with the Anivia hover, I think this kind of seals the deal that this might just be, okay, never mind. We got an Ivern.
Oh, okay. This is going to be some weird jungle shenanigans going on. Udyr Ivern is not a matchup I was expecting to see come through tonight, but we'll see. I don't think it'll necessarily be too interesting in the isolated jungle matchup. These two junglers tend to just try to farm, try to avoid really any sort of opposing jungle interaction. Udyr will have the little bit of an edge, especially early on, but I'm interested to see. Udyr, known for those flash bear slap engages in side lanes, could be a decent angle for Hyperion to really just kind of take over the game early on.
Yeah, I mean this early game is not really going to be the best for Ivern in comparison to Udyr. Udyr is another jungler that does like just staying in the jungle just a little bit longer, right? Does want to make sure that he can put points into either his Phoenix or his Tiger stance in order to get that main sort of damage target online, and then also put some items in his pocket as well. We have seen that people started to favor sort of basically a Hecarim build when it comes to Udyr. In some cases, and that's also another type of build that will want you to kind of like stay in the jungle just a little bit longer, make sure you're constantly tapping those abilities over and over. Ivern, on the other hand, is another character that he's an enchanter. He's an enchanter that exists in the jungle. So if you thought Lulu took a while to get online and was just kind of annoying in the first few levels, but becomes a menace at the later ones, Ivern is exactly the same, right? So now we have hi Cassidon.
Yeah,
Hello.
This update,
hello 12.6.
This update looks really good for Cassidon. In terms of the splash, it looks awful in the little like champion portrait you see in Champ Select, but you know, it would be interesting. It would definitely be hyphy. I again, the Ziggs being maintained as this bot and mid lane flex. I really like this coming out from rawr, and I think Sion just a really strong top laner. We've all seen the clips of Hullbreaker Sion like 1v9ing a base, and it's it's not fun.
Yeah, it really isn't. It's a real pain in the butt, and I think even last time, I think when we were streaming last week, I think there was a discussion of even just the discussion of a character building a Hullbreaker was enough to elicit just an from your end that wasn't on stream. Yeah, it's just Hullbreaker is an item that has received, I believe it received some nerfs in 12.5. I'm not 100%. I might have to double check. I feel like I definitely remember it receiving some nerfs recently, but it's still just like, because of how teleport works, Hullbreaker is not going to be like the best item on everyone anymore, but it's still an item that like, hey, because you're spending so much time in the top lane and for a lot of times just teleporting into a team fight and then going back to the side wave. What is happening? Okay.
So it's Ziggs AD carry, right? Like it's got to be Ziggs bot. I'm assuming you're putting Sion into Veigar and Alawi into Aatrox. That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm fine. I think I'm fine with that as well. Yeah. Oh. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I'm not quite sure where a lot of these are going. I definitely think that Sion into Veigar might be a little bit better for Sion than Alawi into Veigar. The other idea is that one of these is going bot lane, and Ziggs is still going mid. I mean, so if it's Alawi Leona right in the bot lane, so I'm throwing this around because like, sure, Ziggs is possibly the most likely, but now we have an Alawi and Sion, so like anything's on the table because both of these kind of matchups into Veigar are awful, right?
Yeah.
So maybe there's a world where Alawi is going into the bot lane in order to get more harass onto Jinx, because her pull is basically almost as long as Blitzcrank pull is, and it doesn't really displace Jinx and still gives them the availability to harass Jinx if they want to, right? So it's a little weird. However, it's just everything's up in the air now because of basically these two bruiser picks.
Yeah, I mean, it looked pretty standard, I'll say. And then the Alawi just, I think, threw everything up in the air, right? We'll have to see. And there's also some chance of some really weird stuff going on, like maybe an Ivern mid. I believe we've seen that one once or twice in pro play. Not sure I like it in Veigar, but we'll see. There's always a chance of some weird things happening. Alawi currently going to be the top laner. Solid matchup into the Aatrox. I'm not too surprised by this. I think generally she tends to do better than the Sion would in that matchup. This time around, though, it looks like Doki piloting the classic Smite Ignite with that Sion jungle pick currently, which might actually mean the Ivern is mid lane.
Is there an Ivern mid lane?
Okay, like Ivern does not strike me as a Doki pick, so I'm gonna go with it's probably an Ivern mid lane. I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, I am okay. So I am wildly unprepared for this game, apparently. So I guess it just seems like rawr does not want to play straight League of Legends. I think they're honestly looking to take both buffs, like at level 1. I think that's strat number 1. That is my thought. My thought is Magic Claps goes to whatever buff they're not at, takes it himself, and then Doki goes and steals the buff on the other side because he can steal the buff, die, and then respawn with the buff.
I mean, yeah. Oh my gosh, he has smite too. This is exactly what's gonna happen. All right, this is a game 1. This is
It's
definitely
12.2 all over again, baby. Let's go.
I mean, so the big thing to note here again is Hyperion needs a win here, right? rawr is looking to shut them out of the top 2, shut them out of this upper bracket going into playoffs, which will be starting next week. This is definitely a good way to do that, right? You pick some really weird stuff that most people will not have had any practice against. And if you as a team are coordinated enough to pull this off, it's going to look incredibly strong, incredibly oppressive, and it's going to be so hard to shut down. Guys, hold on.
Yeah.
They're playing with us a little bit.
Yeah, they're messing around just a little bit. I mean, it is definitely interesting for sure. I mean, it does kind of look like a 12.2, 12.3 all over again, where we had that kind of double jungle meta. It's just that the only difference now is that we don't have an enchanter in the top lane. We have an enchanter mid, right, in Ivern. It still gives you the ability to kind of play that double jungle kind of tactic. It's still interesting to see it kind of without the smite here. I think they might change it at the last second, even if they keep it as a teleport. Okay. Triple teleports, double jungle.
Okay.
Yeah, this looks like Magic Claps is going to go into the opposing jungle fairly early on and just kind of like try to take whatever buff he can, and then kind of shut Shoeless out of this game, like kind of as much as he can, right? Like, because there's an argument that like, oh, you don't need smite as Ivern, you just need to walk up and right click the camp.
Yeah, the wind up on it is pretty long, so I'm not too sure how that's going to work out, especially early on. I think it's like a 40-second timer, just about. It's something really, really long. So we'll have to see. Having the TP, not opting into the smite definitely makes sense. It just feels a little bit better, I think, but we will have to see how that's all going to play out. Hyperion, the more standard comp rawr, doing some crazy stuff in this opening game of the night.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to throw it to a quick break as we try to figure out what rawr is doing in the in-between here, as much as y'all probably have your questions. We'll see if we can get them answered when we return on the Riff for game number 1 of Hyperion Sword versus rawr coin flip. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
And they say I have a grim sense of humor.
Summoner's Rift.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined, and we are ready to get this game underway. Wonderworld is here with me, and we've got a spicy level 1. We got a real spicy level 1.
Oh.
Yeah, they're looking for the Nog. You're underneath tower here, Doki. Okay, they're out of there. I mean, this is certainly an interesting way to start the game. Doesn't seem like they've gotten a whole lot off of that invade there. They didn't even get Attila's flash. They're going to have to go in and look for more.
Well, you know what they did get, Shinkar? You know what they did get?
What did they get?
They got first strike gold on Ziggs and tier stacks.
Yeah,
that is what matters.
They popped off.
And the CS. My goodness, it's game over.
Okay, yeah. This is huge. This is huge. Look at that. There's now 6 tier stacks on this Ziggs already.
Yep, and a CS. It's a massive difference. Oh, and the counter invade here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to get spotted out, which is good. I personally don't like that they're going to go for this invade here, and Ivern isn't going into the top lane, right? Like, you have to expect that Ivern isn't going into, like, the blue side, right? You have to kind of expect that, like, hey, Udyr is going to go into that, and now that you have kind of vision on it, it's, like, way too late also. Yeah. But, like, this was kind of the opportunity to take both buffs as the red team here, and then just kind of move on as either Ivern, taken away from Ivern or Udyr here, right? And I guess he just doesn't want to take the 50-50, but you know, regardless. Wonderworld, we had a bit of an interesting start, so we really didn't get through it. Are you ready for these games tonight?
Oh, I'm so ready. It's been so long since I've gotten to cast, especially for ZGG, and I'm so excited to finally be back. And I'm especially glad it's rawr, because rawr always has banger drafts, and Doki engage coming in from Nautilus.
Vex Alistair looking a little bit more here. He's going to be able to find a double root here, but not a whole lot afterwards. Zig's not really able to get outside or throw a whole lot of return damage back, so is going to be a trade in favor of Vex Alistair and Attila down the bot lane.
You have to respect the level 2 from Nautilus. If you don't respect it, it is so common these days to just instantly die at level 2 if you do not respect the Nautilus, especially with something like a Jinx. If it
but Turfo here is diving back in here. We got Sion coming in from the side. Vex Alistair is looking real low here. Yep, first blood's going to go over to Turfo. Here's Doki FTW is looking for Attila underneath the turret, but that bouncing bomb is going to be the last source of damage that they're going to take damage from. And Sion is now escaping through the... Ooh, never mind. A little bit of a bait and switch here. Going to get spotted out by the zap. So yeah, Sion is out of there. Sion has a very interestingly strong level 1.
Yeah, it's... You know, that, I can't remember the name of the ability, but that Q, you know, the wind up and then the stun, it's so powerful, especially on, you know, invades or early ganks. If you get that full charge up, gank coming in. Lash
Hitstick gonna face some trouble here. They get caught up by Zolas here in the top lane. Yeah, Zion level 1, you were saying.
Yes, Scion level 1. It's often used, especially for counter invades. If you know another team's going to invade, you just stack a bush with him, and it could be a level 1 ace. You know, like everyone walks into a Scion queue like that, and it could be like unbelievably, you know, powerful. And oh, another hook landing.
Yeah, they're going to get on a Vex Alistair here. It still looks like they're looking to fight here. Peter Griefer kind of separate. The bot lane on the red team kind of separated here. They can't really go anywhere. Turbo's now stuck out here. Has to get around the wall. Going to use Zenith Blade to get on top of Jinx here. Might be able to find some damage. Flashes away, but Flash is in kind. Attila getting real close. Going to be able to get in close and get that kill. Attila is now excited. Has to use that satchel charge in order to get away, but might be within range to get hooked or zapped. Peter Griefer in some trouble there. There's the hook. There's the rocket. Attila gets 2 big kills in the bot lane. What a great chance to start this off for Jinx.
So there is an issue with scoreboard in this game. There's a graphical error. Jinx still 0-0-0 on the scoreboard, obviously incorrect.
Yeah. Woohoo.
Yeah, but massive
games.
massive outcome there. Jinx getting a double kill is unbelievable. Loses both the suns. As you can see here, Nautilus does aggress here because he can see that Ziggs has low mana, and obviously Ziggs not having mana means he can't really do much at all. He splits the 2 of them up, and it's so easy for Jinx from there. Jinx finishes off Leona with the flash, and obviously once you're excited on Jinx, doesn't matter if you have that bomb up on Ziggs, you're just gonna get slowly walked down. Another hook lands from Vex Alistar at the end. Luckily leaves Ziggs likely with single-digit HP for Jinx to pick up there, and Jinx is off to the races.
Yeah, I mean, this is really good for Hyperion here. What a great start too. Like, I think we were talking about, or just MXL and I were talking about in draft, is like this meta is really based on funneling a lot of resources into your AD carry, or just even building your team around it. They've pretty much successfully done that in picks and bans, right? They have Vygar and Nautilus here, both for this kind of line of scrimmage here that they've created for the Jinx. That it's going to be very hard for anyone on rawr in order to even get back into that kind of like back line there to get on the Jinx. The only person who can really do it effectively is the Scion here, as we're getting a replay. That's what happened in the top lane. Here comes Turbo.
Shows up top lane.
Yeah, that's going to be a good stun here. Cheege is in some trouble here. Going to dive forward. Hit stick. Ooh, 1 kill on a hit stick here. This might be a double kill for Cheege. So let's see. 1.
Oh, that is.
Ooh, that's a real low HP bar. Turbo's trying to get away. Double kill. That is really big.
Unbelievable. Again, Aatrox still 0-0-0 as well.
Yeah.
Wow. This is looking great for Hyperion so far. Really, really looking for that second place spot on the leaderboards. They do not want to go out in third, and they are showing it. Really handing it to rawr in this early game, and they're still going.
Yeah, Doki was trapped in there. The chains were too good as well. He's going to get the speed up here. Might be able to get some good damage onto Chidge here, but he's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to find any kills just yet. This Scion doesn't have a whole lot of damage to their name, so once again, this is going to slow them down just a little bit. They still have 4 stacks on their jungle item here, which tells me they haven't really been smiting a whole lot of camps here. So Scion definitely going to spend a little bit, going to have to spend a little bit more time in this jungle here if they really want to catch up to Sholas now, who's now up 6 CS. I believe that's about 2 camps over. So yeah, they really are going to have to keep our eyes on that, as I don't even think the CS numbers are budging.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Okay,
all right, we're gonna get a fix for y'all with that scoreboard bug in just a little bit. So hang on, we recognize the bugs happening. We'll try to see if we can fix it to the best of our ability.
And what you're seeing there, Scion is a little bit behind. Is actually now up on the Udyr in XP. Udyr just ticking 6 now, but what you see there is he spent so much time bot lane after that first gank. Hitstick.
Oh yeah, Hitstick. I thought Hitstick had like a 5-head moment of like, haha, I will not move forward and not get hit by their abilities, but now they have next to none left, and this might actually be a whole bunch of damage onto Aatrox here. He might go down up in that top lane. We might have to cast our eyes back up there, because there might be a stray, just kind of a stray little noodle that slaps him one time and then he goes down. But it looks like he's able to get out of there. Aatrox is okay. Hitstick's okay. Sholas in the meanwhile Looking to get in front of into Scion here. Gonna get a good hook. There's the baby cage come down. Gonna cancel out the channel there. Goes down. Passive pop. Looking for a little bit more. Ultimate of the top lane. That's gonna be the ultimate from Malawi, trying to live with just one little bit of HP, but not gonna happen this time. Aatrox continues the reign of terror up in the top lane.
This is just domination coming out right now from this Aatrox. I believe, if I am correct, obviously I can't tell, but I believe he's 4-0 and probably, I think 1. But I'm not too sure, but he's got 4 kills.
Yeah.
And, so close there, Alawi might have been able to, come out with that shutdown, because Aatrox likely would have had about a 300 gold shutdown on him. And they both come out with, such low HP, but that Aatrox being able to pop that ulti and get that instant healing off the passive proc with the auto attack just gives him that little advantage he needed to come out on top there. And he is going to snowball, and he could take this game over. The Jinx being fed might not even matter, because Aatrox snowballs so hard, and with how little damage the rawr team comp has, he'll just be unkillable. He will be an absolute raid boss in this game, walking around with Udyr.
Yeah, it's interesting that we haven't seen with how much healing that Hitstick and Chuch have that neither of them have built.
Let's see.
Oh yeah, we'll have to see right now. It's just taking incredibly low, going to get the shutdown onto Alawi. That's a pretty good chunk of change into their pocket. It finally puts them onto the scoreboard as well as
well, not actually onto the scoreboard.
Yeah, not actually onto the scoreboard, but. And okay, we're gonna flash over the wall here. Sholas looking for a little bit more. Turfo might be caught out here. Gets a good stun here, but Sholas is very fast. Gonna get knocked into the air one more time. Gonna try to get away from this. There's the hook, comes out, doesn't quite land, but that's gonna be the Predator coming down from Infernos here. He's gonna go down. Baby Cage comes down as well. Hitstick does not have that ultimate ability just quite yet. Okay, it comes down. Gonna be able to pick up 1 kill. Let's look for Infernos on the other end here. Looking for a little bit more. Not gonna be able to grab it. Magic Collapse is here as well. Chuch is coming in for a little bit more. There's the chains coming out. There's the damage. Taking incredibly low. That's going to be a shield to keep them alive for just a little bit longer, but will it be able to protect them? Absolutely not. Daisy's going to knock them into the air as one final breath is trying to keep Scion for alive for just a little bit longer, maybe able to escape. Not this time. Scion goes down. It's a bunch of kills, 3 total up in the top lane, maybe even 4 if you count Leona. That's a whole bunch of deaths on the enemy team for rawr here.
Wow. I mean, rawr very clearly came into this game with a game plan to bring it to Hyperion early, and Hyperion said, bring it on. They are catching them at every corner. They said, you're going to roam with your support. We'll bring our Nautilus next time. It's fine. And now, they're up 3k golds, 3.5k gold now at 11.5 minutes. Turret plates haven't even dropped yet.
Yeah, I mean, this is it just seems to me like maybe I just don't know what rawr's strategy was, but it definitely seemed like they wanted to put more pressure onto Sholas, but like were definitely just never able to do it, right? Like whenever someone picks Ivern in a lane, to me, whenever someone picks Ivern in a lane, to me that signals that like, hey, we're going to take this Ivern and we're going to take more things away from the enemy jungler. But that never happened. We like never saw Magic Collapse like leave mid lane. And if you're just going to have Ivern sit in the mid lane, then why didn't we throw a Karma there? Why didn't we throw like something else, like another enchanter that can just function just a little bit better into the mid lane, right? Ivern is there so that you can start like stealing like camps away from the opponent, because Ivern is really good at doing that, right? And if we're not going to use Ivern to his strengths, like what was the point of this Ivern pick?
Yeah, I agree completely. Like if you want to go for something like an enchanter in the mid lane, there's just so many better options than an Ivern, unless you're going for some, pocket Rengar Ivern. Oh, fight coming in from the bot lane.
Turfo here is taking incredibly low. Super Mega Death Rocket comes across. Solar Flare as well, but doesn't land onto anyone here. So it's going to be a wash in the bot lane here. It's not enough damage to kill either side. Peter Griefer is still pretty much alive and going to have that Mega Inferno Bomb up in a second. There it comes. Not going to land on anyone. So whole bunch of ultimates thrown around in the bottom lane there, but no success. Peter Griefer flashing forward? I do not agree with that. All right, Hitstick's going to be pulled back in here. Meanwhile, top lane, that Aatrox still hurty.
Very clean combo from that Aatrox. I'm a bit of an Aatrox enthusiast myself. That was very well executed by the Aatrox, waiting for that W and another fight.
Yeah, Vex Alistair down in the bot lane here is going to go down. It's a mutually just assured destruction down in the bot lane here as Udyr comes in from the side, going to help Attila get out A-OK as another double kill comes through. Shutdown for Leona. But in terms of a 1-for-1, I think you take that every day of the week. Might have lost some shutdown gold here, but it goes on to the support, so not the end of the world, but still. Double kill for Jinx, coming out huge.
Yeah. Very unfortunate for rawr. They have been able to trade back kills in this bot lane. That's 2 kills traded back now. But both of them ending up on the Leona is just, it feels so bad. Especially for the Ziggs. Ziggs needs that gold early if you want, like, if you snowball on Ziggs, you do so much damage, and it's so hard to deal with. But unfortunately, he's not able to trade back, and a 2v1 coming in top lane. I think Aatrox can win this.
Aatrox might be able to win this. Alawi does have ultimate available. All right, here comes the World Ender right here. He has to be able to get away from that. That's going to be the Scion ultimate as well. Just, oh, that's super good. Death Arc coming through as well. Chiz already heals up so much here. Re-engages here. Flashes onto hit stick here. This might be able to turn it into the 1-for-1 that he's looking for here. There's still a lot of damage. Hit stick also healing a decent chunk. There's so much self-healing, and no one's able to finally get that last bit of damage that they're looking for. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Scion spending so much time in the top lane means that they can grab this Inferno. As now, here comes Infernosk up in the top lane here. Does have that Predator popped. Hit stick nowhere to go. Infernosk picks up the big kill up in the top lane. That extended engagement goes over to Hyperion here, who are really bringing it to rawr this game.
And I absolutely love this Veigar pick. It's one of my favorite picks mid lane into things that aren't very, powerful in terms of solo kill pressure. This Ivern's right now stuck in the mid lane trying to push a wave while the Veigar just clicks on his Predator boots. He doesn't even actually have Predator. Well, maybe it's a scoreboard issue. I think he Predatored in.
Yeah, I mean, that was okay. Turfo's going in here in the bottom lane. That's already 1 kill for the Ziggs here. That's pretty good. Attila's taking incredibly low. The bouncing bomb is good. Okay, Peter Griefer coming through with a big shutdown, a big double kill here. Gonna give up a decent chunk of gold over to the Ziggs here. That's actually a really good place to be. As this might, I think it keeps showing a shutdown because there's shutdown gold technically on the scoreboard here, but. Peter Griefer coming in pretty big there. Started off the engagement with a little bit of a miscommunication, though. The solar flare and the satchel charge. Oops.
So Ziggs does pick up tower gold there. It was not first tower. It was picked up in the top lane. Hyperion is picking up Rift Herald here. I think that's a really good play. I think what they need to do is they need to get this down in the mid lane and get this Veigar activated on the map. Pardon me. They need to get this Veigar roaming around with Predator. He is so strong right now. I'm not sure where he's at item-wise because of the scoreboard issue, but he should likely be finishing, if not already finished, his Everfrost. He should just be running around, just permanently CCing people, one-shotting any squishy character.
Yeah.
It's really all in Hyperion's hands right now. They've got 2 fed hyper carries, and they've got a fed snowballing bruiser. There's no reason that Hyperion should lose this game, but, with that Ziggs getting those 2 kills down there, the poke might be too much. You never know.
Yeah, I mean it's also Gold League as well. Anything's possible.
Absolutely.
I've seen some crazier things happen, but I definitely agree with you as well. Hyperion. It seemed like rawr had an idea with the draft and then didn't execute it on it in game, as now Magic Labs might be caught out here. Solar Flare comes down. Vex Alistair is actually taken pretty low here. This might actually be a fight in favor of rawr here. Turfo looking for the last bit of damage on Vex Alistair here, but they keep getting shielded. They can't find the kill. Infernosk is going to be the one picking up the kills. A teleport coming in from the top laner here. Might be a little too late here, as now, oh man, this Aatrox is gigantic. Ultimate comes down from Alawi here, might be able to pick up the kill onto Aatrox here, but Infernosk comes in huge, gonna CC down the Priestess, take her out, and that's a 2-for-0 for Hyperion here, as once again, so close, yet so far, rawr cannot seem to find a way to finish off these kills here. So the Shelly charge is gonna be the one taking out on the turret. You don't like to see it, especially with such a low HP bar. But Infernosk looking for a little bit more, flashing forward, Peter Griefer. Still gonna be able to find the shutdown though. 1-for-1 in the mid lane. Getting some permanent damage on his tier 2 might be valuable. Great knockup onto Doki here. This might be the re-engage that they're looking for. Shelly charge on the tier 2 does mean some damage, but they're going to be able to find a second kill at the end of that engagement. So pretty big to see there. Definitely good. Doki looking for more. Yeah, I think it's a little far, but I think this is the classic mid counter push that we see a lot in elos like this immediately.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, real long extent. Oh, are we still going? What's up? Okay.
But that's Gold Leaks for you, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as I say it's all in Hyperion's hands, rawr comes back. They just got a 1k shutdown on that Ziggs. Look at the Ziggs' items. He's got Anguish finished. His Seraphs is fully stacked. Sork shoes and a needlessly large rod. Once he finishes that death cap, he is going to be a menace in these fights.
Yeah. It's really, really crazy, like how much the Ziggs will be able to pop off. Now, I don't think so. Still, I still think that this is very much Hyperion's game, right? Because the longer that this game goes on, sure, rawr has been able to catch up, but they're still behind. And the longer this game goes on, this Jinx is going to be so much more valuable than the Ziggs will, right? They have a lot more consistent damage. They're going to be able to scale a lot better with the more and more items that they get. Like, this is just like, and on top of that, they have the Vygar with the infinite scaling as well. So even in terms of like mage versus mage, right? Vygar still is a better champion in this sort of scenario, right? So rawr kind of has to like end the game relatively soon. They need to be able to capitalize on this gigantic power spike by Ziggs like now.
Yeah. I mean, they're around this dragon. I like the play by the Aatrox here to push this mid wave. That all those minions under that tower are gonna go unfarmed by rawr to go here. I do not like.
Ooh, yeah, that's a world ender right there. Solar Flare comes out as well, but immediately Ziggs goes down to the Aatrox. They're going to be able to grab some kills for themselves. Leona and Alawi have already found them, but this is the bounce house that Alawi loves, staying alive for pretty long here. Going to be able to survive for just a little bit longer. Look at these blue HP bars stacked underneath the tentacles, still trying to stay alive here. Attila gets 2. Can they find more? They're going to look for a little bit. Attila is in some trouble there. Chidge looking for magic claps here. Going to give themselves a shield. They're still looking for the Jinx. Going to be able to grab it at the last second there. This is still a fight that rawr could win. Doki looking for a little bit more, but doesn't quite have it. Magic Claps might just be the sacrificial lamb here as Sion just kind of gives up and is walking away. Judge is going to get able to pick up the tree man as now the undead behemoth is now on the chopping block for Aatrox to come through. Is it going to happen? 1v1 me, bro. Dragon Pit, no smite. Let's go. Here we go. Okay. Not quite yet. I'm setting it up. They're definitely still going to fight, right? You have blue team running. Both teams are running. They're sprinting towards this river right here. All right, he's looking for the intro right here. He's going to go back in. Doesn't have this ultimate this time. Here comes the change. Turfo might be pulled back in. Has to spend the flash. Mega Inferno Bomb comes through. Double stun from the Vygar here. Okay, once again, they need to grab this dragon. It has an objective bounty on it. They're looking for it. Solar Flare comes through. Blue team slays the dragon. Super Mega Deathmarker comes across. They're looking for it. Chuj now has the world ender one more time. Can they find Doki and Turfo? 1, 2 kills for the blue team as now it's slowly going back into their favor. Peter Griefer trying to get away. Predator has been popped by Infernos here. They're going underneath the turret. There's the shield. There's the ultimate huge kill for Infernos here. What a great turn around. 1 for 3. They get the Drake as well. And just as rawr was trying to get themselves back into the game, Hyperion, after clawing themselves out of that hole, Hyperion Sparta kicks them back in.
And that is your reward for good. Frost, he's got so much AP right now. It's unbelievable. And Hyperion are just, like I said, they're just checking rawr at every turn. Rawr wants to fight, and they're trying to make the game chaotic, but Hyperion just, they want it. And they're winning every fight, even though it's, to rawr's credit, every fight seems to be so close by the tiniest little margins every time. But Hyperion just has their number this game.
Yeah, for sure. As I did really quickly want to mention, some folks might have already noticed it. Oh, Infernos, are you in trouble here? Okay, looks like he's getting out of there. Probably fine in just a little bit. We do have the items fixed back up. The scoreboard is ready to go once again. So we apologize for that. Infernos just flashes forward and picks up the kill on the Ivern here. As that's going to be depth charge coming across on the top side here. Hit stick is going to be taken incredibly low. More Super Mega Death Market comes across. Not going to land on anyone right now. They're staying alive for just a little bit longer. Vex Alistair might be able to get out of there. Not going to happen this time. Doki for the win is going to be the one picking up the kill. Is a double kill for Chidge up in the top lane on the Aatrox. Going to be able to figure it out. 1 for 2 across the map, but they are going to be able to pick up an inside turret on the top lane.
I didn't quite see who got the Vygar shutdown there. I am curious, but I don't think it's the biggest deal. I like the Vygar's itemization a lot. Ziggs got it, good. I like the Vygar's itemization a lot here. Anathema's chains on Vygar. Right away, I assume that's put straight onto Ziggs. Ziggs is the one dealing all of the damage for rawr right now. Maybe even Alawi. I think either of them would be fine. I would honestly put it onto Alawi. Getting that extra CC duration, getting that damage reduction, will just make the Alawi a little more, easy to deal with in these fights. And me personally, I build just full AP. I don't like building defensive items, but I think it's a very good option, and it makes the game just that little bit easier.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Anathema's Chain is definitely going to be able to help you survive in a lot of these fights, because Peter Grief, once again, I think you said that Peter Griefer is really going to be the only source of damage on the enemy team, right? So just by giving themselves that huge chunk of MR, and then also on top of that, giving them just that damage reduction from Ziggs, means that this Ziggs is going to be able to do kind of what you wanted to do earlier, right? Press that Predator, just kind of run into the enemy team, blow up whoever gets stunned by the baby cage, and then just kind of walk away for free later.
And you're just so fast. It's so hard to hit when a lot of rawr's abilities are skill shots, right? Like, there's no point-click CC. There's nothing. I mean, how do you play around a Vygar that's got so much move speed and also so much CC?
Yeah.
But also just has the ability to one-shot you from 100 HP. It's so hard to deal with a fed Vygar.
That's going to be the engage right here. Solar Flare comes down onto the back end here. Is going to stun up Attila here, give themselves a little bit longer to survive, which is going to be pretty successful here. Alawi, holy moly, never mind. The damage from Aatrox and Vygar is gigantic. Holy moly. Just when I thought they were going to be able to maybe survive this team fight, they had a big pileup inside the Alawi ultimate. Immediate damage comes down from Hyperion. Immediate response. Immediately swings the fight in their favor. Holy moly. It doesn't matter how much CC you have in the world, as long as you give the damage dealers just a second, they can blow up those HP bars.
And that right there is that massive power spike from the Aatrox. It's that third item, Cyrilda's Grudge. Right away getting those blows on abilities to just keep them right on top of you for even more healing. And that percentage armor pen. So the Death Stance on the Alawi that actually just got finished, she didn't have it for that fight, but the Thornmail on the Scion, the Tabbies on the top laner, all of those are a lot less useful now, and the Aatrox is just shredding through them. He's level 16, he's got the level 3 ultimate. How do you kill this guy now? There's no way they can kill him.
Yeah.
I am a little... Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be tough for sure.
Yeah, I'm just a little confused on Doki's itemization. He has no mythic. Not too sure what the thoughts were on that one. I definitely would have liked to see something like a Sunfire Cape or something to at least get a bit more damage down in those AoE fights where he's in there, especially with him being kind of a secondary engage tool. Oh, not a salty coming down.
Oh my god, the depth charge into an immediate rundown of the Ziggs right there. I mean, this is just the nail in the coffin, right? I mean, rawr, that was their damage dealer. They have a bunch of frontliners right now, and they'll be able to survive a fairly long fight, but I don't think Hyperion is going to give it to them. That's going to be the engage right here. They're pulled right in. Turfo taken incredibly low here. Not going to be able to get it, but Alawi is able to find a shutdown onto Aatrox here, which might be able to mean that they can live through this fight. They just need to be careful. That's going to be Vex Alistair taken down here, but the W shield is going to keep them alive for a little bit longer. They're going to jump onto Zolas here, looking for that last bit of damage. Zolas taken incredibly low once as well, and they're going to be able to defend their base. Hyperion not able to find the end of the game just quite yet, but they are able to get a couple of inhibitors and a Nexus turret, which means that rawr needs to keep their eyes on the Nexus as much as possible.
Absolutely, and it's looking pretty bleak for rawr at the moment, but there is possibilities. What they should do right now is they should just make sure that the Ziggs can just feast on these super minions, get him levels, give him solo XP, give him as much gold as you can, let him get as much damage as possible, and just hope. Hope that those skill shots land, hope that he can just find someone, and, maybe you can pull out another fight win or two, and maybe pull out a Baron, maybe pull out an Elder. The Elder's the next dragon. It's going to be up, I believe, in a few minutes. And that's got to be their best way back into the game, but it's going to be a difficult road for rawr.
Yeah, I mean, they have to steal the Elder Drake. I mean, I think you already said it. It's a really slim chance at this point. They're down 11,000. They're down nearly 11,000 gold. They're down the Dragon Soul as well, right? Like their damage dealer hasn't really found an angle that they can be successful at quite yet. And oh no, they're getting caught out one by one like this. Oh, good flash for Infernos here to put himself in front of the Scion to keep him from escaping here. Doki goes down. And now that's a 4v5 as they get into this base, as Doki is just going to spend their time wailing on these minions, keeping them from having a wave from getting into the base. But yeah, this is now going to be interesting. I should note that this is a 4v4. Jolas is grabbing Gromp.
He'll get fastitude here.
Yeah.
He'll pop his
Still, but like,
he'll be there.
Gromp? Really, yeah. Gromp?
I think he resets and he's coming out of base.
Okay.
I think he might have had his Force of Nature completed, or maybe he just had a component or something.
All right, good hook here from onto Alawi here. That's going to be the good first kill here. Turfo's getting incredibly low, and once again, Peter Griefer not really finding an angle here to really be successful in these fights as Jinx continues to tear through the base, and the team is now one very low inhibitor. Nexus turret stands between them and victory. Sholas flashing forward, does not need to. Chuja's going to be the one picking up the kill on the Nexus. 50 gold is going to go over to Hyperion as they pick up game number 1.
Wow. That was just, it was dominance, really, from minute 1. You know, like, the Aatrox in the top lane, bot lane getting early kills. It's hard to say that Hyperion didn't just completely run rawr over.
Yeah.
You know, it was, like I said before, a lot of those early fights, and even in the mid-game fights when they were behind, they were so close. rawr could have pulled out a few of those fights, gotten some shutdowns, and been able to make, you know, a comeback happen. But Hyperion, like I said, they had their number. And I really want to see better drafting, I think, from rawr in the next game.
Yeah. I mean, it just, I think I mentioned this before. It seemed like rawr had some kind of specific strategy in mind in order to really throw Hyperion a curveball. And we were like ready for the curveball. And we were ready to hit a curveball, right? We were reading the signals from like kind of like the third base coach, and we're like, okay, sure. All right, we're kind of getting a feel from the catcher here. It's like, okay, he's gonna throw a curveball, and then he throws a fastball right down the center, and it's easy to just crack it out of the park, and you're just confused. So you're like, I was expecting something a little different, but okay, we'll take it. You know, I mean,
I like the analogy.
Yeah. I mean, Hyperion here really played straight League of Legends, and it just seemed like rawr had some very specific strategy to run with, and then it just never happened. And so now we're going into game 2, and we could get into a scenario where Hyperion gets their win scenario through, and they could move on to the finals that they were hoping for.
Yeah. I mean, with how, you know, Hyperion is playing, I mean, especially with how, you know, close and how dominant it was, it's hard to think, like, is rawr gonna be able to be mentally ready for this next game? Because it's when you come in knowing you're the first seed and you're against the third seed who's vying for that second place spot, and they're hungry for it, clearly, and you get rolled like that.
Yeah.
Can you come in, draft well, and like bring it back at them? Like, I think rawr needs to really bring it to Hyperion next game, and then, you know, maybe that will, if rawr really brings it to Hyperion now, that game 3 is going to be so hype.
Yeah.
It'll be amazing. I hope it goes game 3.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we are going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be in Picks and Bans of Hyperion versus rawr game number 2 here for the competing for their second place spot here in Group B for Zero Gravity Gaming Gold League. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari, and I'm joined by Wonderworld, and we are ready to get this game 2 underway. Hyperion Gaming coming out of game number 1. Very, very strong. rawr, throwing an expectation that they were going to throw us a curveball, but ended up playing rather straight League of Legends with a rather interesting comp that didn't quite play out the way that they'd hoped. So now, here we are. First seed versus third seed, game number 2. If Hyperion comes out of this 2-0, there is a chance that Hyperion can make it into the playoffs.
Yep. And already, I like what rawr's doing. Instant first 3 bans, Jinx, Veigar, Aatrox. Get them off those champs. They had your number on all 3 of those champs. Take them out of the game. I like it.
Yeah, I'm much of a fan of maybe banning 1 or 2 champions. I'm not sure if like Aatrox specifically was a problem, or even Veigar. I'm not even sure if Veigar is ban worthy in this game, right? I think Jinx and Aatrox, sure. I'm not quite sure. Like, Veigar definitely was strong, but it definitely wasn't the reason that you lost the game in the previous game, right? Veigar can pop off if the team pops off, and it's just too many bans. It's a little short-sighted is what I'm saying.
I see what you mean, and I definitely agree with the Veigar, and perhaps even the Jinx. I think the Aatrox needs to be banned. I think he showed very good mechanical prowess on it, and with how powerful it is just right now in the meta, I think it needs to be taken away. Hyperion right away drafting a very aggressive bot lane with Ezreal banned. They're going for the win.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Tristana pick here.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, if we're considering that if we agree that this meta is, hey, let's pull as much resources into the enemy into our AD carry as possible, Tristana is one of those champions that can hyper carry if she wants to, right? Like her passive does give her the ability to kind of scale fairly well into the late game. Not as much as like a Vayne or an Aphelios or a Jinx, but still is in that kind of area where, like, around the mid game, around the late game, this is a very, very powerful pick. And has some slipperiness to her, which means she's very hard to lock down, which means this Volibear's time is going to be that much harder. Caitlyn, on the other hand, is another champion that kind of has a power trough in the mid game, really strong early, has a lane bully, power troughs mid, and then spikes up huge in the late game. So this is 2 champions right here that are going to excel as we get later and later into the game for sure. And I'm loving the Karma lock-in as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think, me personally, I would have liked a little more, perhaps, something a little more defensive. I'm personally a big fan of Braum into things like Tristana. It takes away her ability to kind of one-shot your ADC off of one mistake. But I think the Karma's good because I think they can force poke down onto Tristana, and with the Karma speed, they can avoid that Nautilus engage a little easier. Obviously, after 6, it becomes a little harder, but you know, they can try to dominate this lane a little earlier in sort of a Caitlyn Lux kind of fashion.
Yeah. And that's basically what I'm going to be looking for in the spot lane here. Just a whole bunch of poke damage for Caitlyn and Karma here. And even Karma herself is very much a flex pick too. We've seen Karma played in a bunch of different solo lanes, like even in top lane as well. Like not even before the Enchantress in the top lane, you know, we saw Karma kind of move around because she does have a very strong solo lane capability. So that is going to be interesting to see whether or not they choose to flex that pick and lock in a different support here. It's still kind of up in the air. So definitely a good lock-in with the Karma here. Loving the Kayn lock-in as well. Someone kick Gavin on the horn. That guy, you know, everyone's favorite, ZGG's favorite scythe enthusiast. Here, Kayn is going to be an interesting lock-in here. Hyperion did favor a couple of multiple bruisers as a front line kind of before, and we saw that from rawr as well. So locking in maybe even red Kayn here, even blue Kayn could look pretty good against this team who already have a couple of squishy targets that could very easily get executed.
Yeah. And pardon me, but which role is Peter Griefer playing for rawr?
Peter Griefer would be the AD carry for rawr.
AD carry. Ah, okay. Because I was going to say, Peter Griefer in his last, what looks like 10 games, he has played 9 Karma games. So I would have thought that maybe he was going for him, but apparently not.
Yeah, so that's gonna be the sub out right here. Kryptonic Killer is going to be the AD carry for rawr this time round. Um, so that's gonna be Caitlyn being picked up by Kryptonic here, as Amumu and Ari are both locked in for zero gravity game, or excuse me, for coin flip rawr here, as I am misreading the page in front of me, as I apologize. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting lock-in. This does confirm the Karma This does confirm the Karma as a support. This does confirm Amumu, I believe, as the jungler, and Volibear in the top lane. With Caitlyn and Karma down bot, Ari mid. Definitely a lot more of a straight 5v5 League of Legends game here, as Graves and Rise are locked in for Hyperion. Holy moly, there's a lot of damage on that team.
Yeah, straight up off the bat, rawr has done a significantly better job drafting. They've got themselves an S+ tier mid laner right now that is really good into Rise. They have a massive team fight ult jungler. They have a very strong bot lane with poke and late game potential. And they have a top laner that is fairly niche, but when played by someone who knows what they're doing, has a unbelievable value.
Yeah.
And I do think Hyperion drafted very well as well. I think this is going to be a very competitive game. You know, the bot lane is going to be where it's at for sure. But I think, you know, in the mid lane, Ari can look for solo kills. You know, I expect that Ignite to be taken, you know, Electrocute as well. There should be solo kills coming out of that mid lane. I'm not exactly sure how that top lane matchup goes, because I believe it was Graves top into Volibear. I'm not exactly sure how that goes, but I think there will be great gank pressure for that Volibear, because obviously Volibear's got amazing gank assist.
Yeah.
And yeah, this will be a very entertaining game. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I mean, Chidge is on another champion that can perform fairly well in these games, right? It is a don't know 100% of the matchup of Graves versus Volibear, but you know, I do know that in a lot of cases, traditionally, ranged versus melee is definitely a recipe for success with regards to the ranged character. Now, it's going to be a little bit different because of how Graves as a champion specifically interacts with these kind of laning situations, where the buckshot is going to keep him from truly being able to harass Hitstick whenever he goes into farm. But it still means that when Hitstick goes into melee range, it's not always going to be the Volibear favored, because now you're just tanking a lot more of that buckshot damage. That if Chudge is able to get the early CS lead and is able to cash it in, then a lot of what Hitstick is going to try to do is going to be very hard. Yeah.
And I think a lot of what happens to Graves' top players that actually is detrimental to them is Graves has a lot of build variation in the top lane, and I think a lot of people don't exactly understand how to build Graves in the top lane. I hope to see good itemization out of him, and I think if he, like you said, gets a good farm lead, you know, stays safe, freezes the wave, gets potentially some ganks from this Kayn, gets his Kayn in early red form potentially, they could run away with this from the top lane. Like,
yeah, for sure.
The Graves could be unbelievably strong.
Yeah. It's another scenario where Chudge just could run away with the game again, you know. And this is kind of like why you need to be careful about ganking into this top lane, because Hitstick and Doki kind of are on champions that are very easy to gank and gank for, right? To gank with and gank for, right? So and even like you said, a very good gank assist as well. But, you know, if Chudge is, once again, able to cash in on a lot of these kind of advantages early and is able to get ahead of Hitstick, then it's going to be very, very tough to really lock down Graves. You're going to have to land everything all at the same time, and then, you know, layer your CC properly so that you can get that huge burst windows that Volibear and Amumu do have in these early levels. But Chudge definitely has, you know, the means in order to be a little bit slippery, play pretty far back, and definitely harass Hitstick whenever or no, I won't say whenever, but for a decent chunk of the time when he goes into CS.
Yeah, I definitely expect Amumu to be hovering mainly around this this top and this mid lane. Like both of them super easy to gank. Like Ryze is so immobile, so easy to gank. And if you get this Arya ahead, Arya is so strong right now. It's unbelievable. Like rawr has done a really good job of drafting a really good mix of comfort and power.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to see, especially in gold leagues, because a lot of teams get caught up in drafting meta, like, oh, we have to pick the best champions in the game. We have to pick, like this thing's higher win rate than this thing. This thing counters this thing. No.
Yeah.
Pick what you're good at.
Yeah.
I preach that all the time. If you are good on a champion, even if it's C tier, if you're good on it, it's got value, and you can play it.
For sure. I'm gonna throw a phrase I like to say that agrees with what you're saying right now, and maybe you can use it yourself. Comfort is king. Comfort
Absolutely.
is king.
Amen.
Amen. No matter what elo you're in. And this is why Aurelion Sol was picked by Huhi for so long. So Aurelion Sol is still not good, and rip, because Aurelion Sol is a lot of fun to play. But when Huhi was playing Aurelion Sol, it wasn't because Aurelion Sol was good, it's because Aurelion Sol fit into the team perfectly, and Huhi was good on Aurelion Sol, right? And so, if you're good on a champion, it doesn't matter what elo you're in, you're gonna succeed on that champion a lot more than just like, oh well, Orianna is always good, so why don't I just pick Orianna?
Yeah. I mean, that's why right now in a lot of the leagues I'm playing a lot of Twitch. I love Twitch, and people don't know how to play into him. I mean, to be fair, he's S+ tier right now, but that's irrelevant. Listen, I was still playing him when he was like D tier. Okay, I've been a Twitch player for a long time. I'm just capitalizing on when he's good.
We're gonna throw it to a break. We're gonna be back in just a little bit as we get onto the Rift of rawr versus Hyperion Sword game number 2. This is a real important match. You don't want to miss it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Wonderworld. We're on the Rift of game number 1 of rawr versus Hyperion. rawr is now on the blue side, and Hyperion's on the red. And we're actually in game number 2. Oops. We're ready to go. We got a 5-point start for Hyperion, but rawr one more time. Looking for that level 1 engage. Gets spotted out pretty early by Sholas here. Spot out that defensive ward. And Wonderworld, you ready to go?
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh, wait a minute. Inferno's here.
Second one.
Doki spots him out. I don't know how they didn't notice he was there. That's a whole bunch of damage. Onto Inferno's pretty early. I don't think it doesn't... Not really going to do anything. No summoners were burned either way. Doki over the wall, though.
Oh!
Bandage toss looking forward. Going to grab that stun. Looking for that last bit of damage. Bandage toss level 1. First blood. Doki picks it up. Zolas is running away for their lives here. Doesn't have an opportunity to back. They will lose so much CS if they do. They have to start right here, right now. The ward for blue is on the chickens here, so they know exactly where Kane is going to start. This is a very good start for rawr here. Level 1 coming out huge.
And Doki just knows something that we don't. Without the ignite there, that doesn't happen. I mean, he's the mastermind. Little disappointed to not see the ignite on the Ahri personally. I think this is such a good matchup for her, and I think she should just be abusing this Rise most of the lane and just solo killing him on repeat. But
yeah,
you know, it is competitive play, and teleport does hold a lot of value. So I understand, but I'm just a little disappointed that we don't get to see the spicy ignite.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I agree that like teleport definitely has a lot of competitive like value to it of being able to teleport to a fight. But a lot of times I feel like mid laners in the mid to late game are roaming around with their team all the time anyway, are not usually the ones pushing sideways. As Vex Alistair dives on onto Turfo here. They got that early level 2, having to flash away. This might be the re-engage that they're looking for here, but just enough of poke damage from Kryptonic Killer here. They're going to be able to at least return something. Once again, you can't disrespect the level 2 from Nautilus at any point at any time.
Yeah. And you know, people don't respect just the difference that it makes, especially with both bot lanes going D-Blade start. You know, I've always been a as an ADC, I'm a preacher of the longsword start, especially with playing something like Caitlyn. You have the lowest base health of any AD carry. Just off rip, you go longsword cut down, you will do significantly more damage throughout most of the game, especially off the start, and you get the 3-pot start. You can be so much safer. You can deal with a little bit more poke, and that one pop that Tristana has, if you can get her to burn that early, you have so much more prio just because of the inherent healing you gain back, especially with that fleet footwork on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely something to keep our eyes on for sure. I mean, the Doran's Blade, like you said, might be able to patch up that HP thing, but if you can capitalize on it, Doki, Vex Alistair here might be caught out. And use that hook to get onto the wall, flash over it. Wow. Real good early level escape here from Vex Alistair here, as they're going to be able to get away. Once again, Hyperion still kind of is still a little bit behind, but nothing to write home about just yet. Only a 300 gold lead at this stage of the game. Hit stick for Chudge here, going to dive on top. There's the storm, there's the stun. Chudge looking for trying to get away. There's finally the dash and the slow. Hit stick still looking for a little bit more. Chudge going to take a bunch of damage in the top lane here, but no kills just yet.
Oh, Ahri.
Well, bot lane. Yep, there's the charm. There's the triple. There's the... Oh, he's going to try to get that last bit of damage. So close. Infernos has to just keep clicking in the opposite direction for their lives here. Going to be able to get away. No rise kill this time. But now we see the difference between taking Ignite and taking Teleport.
I was about to say it, and you beat me to it.
Like,
I don't want to be that guy, but imagine if you had Ignite. It's unfortunate, but the Ahri is going to get a pretty decent lead off of this. Kayn is walking towards mid, but Amumu is here for the counter. This should be interesting.
Yeah, Kayn definitely scaring Ahri away from the lane here. Ahri does have the ability, once she hits level 6, to really be able to catch out and find that really short burst windows in order to find kills. And it doesn't even need to get that level up either, because Infernosk is at that HP kind of gateway right now that Ahri could just slip in and find a kill. The other thing is, like, Ahri with her recent changes, doesn't need to land her charm in order to get... Oh, Doki's going
psycho.
for it underneath the turret. Oh, it's going to go down the 1-for-1 mid lane. Who are you giving that advantage over to?
I do not like that play personally. I mean, to be fair, I mean, Amumu does have a weird ability to snowball with like the demonic build and being able to deal a fair amount of damage, but trading a kill like that onto such a powerful late game champion like Ryze, especially when the mid lane matchup has been quite even, weirdly enough. I don't think, like, if I was Doki's mid here, I would be a little tilted, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. I mean, the only real saving grace here that Ryze or that Magic Collapse had over Infernosk here in this mid lane is that Magic Collapse is farming a whole lot better. Right? If we take a look, Ryze has just returned to lane and is still 8 CS behind. That's a decent chunk. And to come into lane and make a 1-for-1 like that, right? It's not like the gold is going to be evened out for the laners now, because now Infernosk is now caught up, and has passed, and is in the lead by, you know, a small margin, but, you know, at this stage of the game, that small margin can mean a whole lot. Sometimes it's the difference between kind of like a Kindle Gem or like a Ruby Crystal. It's sometimes.
And especially with an experienced Ryze player, as the game goes on and you get your items, farming only becomes easier. Every farm lead that you gain on that Ahri, you need to treasure, because that Ryze will not stay like that for long. Oh, fight happened.
Well, that's going to be, Infernosk is taking incredibly low here. Solus is now in the middle of the team here, going to go down as well. 2 kills going over to rawr here in game number 2. 4-1 lead. rawr is going to grab that dragon as well. So this is a nice chunk of gold in their pockets. 800 gold now separates these two teams at 7 minutes in.
See, now right away, if I'm Doki's mid laner, all is forgiven. That was a great engage. Doki somehow lives it. I don't know how. The Bomby Cinder, the Null Magic actually made the difference there, because the Ryze didn't build any AP, so his damage was pretty negligible through the Aftershock. And, massive hook.
Ooh, yeah, huge hook. Gonna jump in right here from Attila here. Might be able to get the reset if they're looking for it. Kryptonic Killer is right there, but the HP bars are real low. Good charm onto the mid lane here. Not gonna go forward a little bit more, but Attila playing with fire here. Playing with fire here, bud.
You need to be very careful. Caitlyn is going to be very close to 6, and they're both low. If Caitlyn hits 6 here and finds like a headshot auto and an ulti, this could be a kill. They need to be very cautious.
Yeah, Magic Collapse here, meanwhile, still trying to eke out a lead in the mid lane. I think you said it, like, the more gold that Ryze has, the easier it is to farm. Look at this. They've already caught up so much. They had fallen behind after dying. Their Magic Collapse got a pretty big lead. Now they're slowly narrowing that gap, so definitely something to watch out for. Oh, no.
All is now not forgiven.
Yeah. I was going to say.
Back to square one, Doki.
Yeah. Back to square one. Doki has to repair their relationships. They have to post on r/relationships. I don't know, 1,000-year-old mummy. Keep getting into arguments with my mid laner. 500-year-old fox spirit. And I just accidentally took their blue buff. What should I do? I didn't do it on purpose, and then everyone's gonna comment, dump them.
Yeah, and Ari's coming top. Wow, this is a big
Here we go. Doki coming in from the side here. Great charm from Magic Collapse as well. Just got nowhere to go. Flashes over the wall, but not going to make it this time. Used everything they had, but still the kill goes over to Doki. That's going to be a nice chunk of gold into their pockets here. Now they're able to pick up Rift Arrow.
Did go over to the Volley Bear, actually. I was going to say that I thought we were going to have another all is forgiven moment, but we didn't. Volley Bear picking up that kill there is going to help him out in the lane a bit. He does have his tabbies and a Kindle Gem. I'm curious what item this Volley Bear is going to build, because I know there is some really interesting builds you can go with, things like Nashor's Tooth for AP and attack speed to really go for things like solo kills with a lot of mixed damage. Yeah. But I'm not sure if he will be going for that. We will have to see.
Yeah, for sure. Now is Shola showing themselves in the bottom lane. We haven't really seen a whole lot of Kayn this game. Obviously, they showed up for the dragon fight, but we haven't really been seeing a whole lot of them. So this might be just, you know, it excuse me, man, I'm brain farting real bad. A super power farming Kayn this game. As you know, usually we see Kayn's at least try to gank it. They're looking for like a specific kind of form. I wonder if it's just because there's really only one lane to gank in order to get red Kayn souls. Holy moly, I'm just not having a good time tonight, apparently.
Yeah, and I do want to agree that I do just like, maybe it is just a power farming Kayn, but he's down CS to the Amumu. And Amumu's 3-1 and 2. You know, he's 100% KP, and Kayn's over here at 0% KP. Down CS. This is just, Doki is just doing an amazing job on this Amumu. I know he plays a ton of Amumu, so obviously, like we said before, comfort is king. Doki's on a champion that he knows very well and plays a ton of, and he's showing why that is.
Yeah, for sure. Is now we're taking a stock of where we are about 11 minutes into this game. The rawr is up, but only by 400 gold here, so still not a lead to write home about, but they are still in a commanding position of a lot of these games and a lot of these fights. Amumu has been roaming around the map a whole lot, as we've been saying, as Sholas has not really shown himself as much on the Kayn here. And in the bottom lane, it's been pretty even back and forth. Nautilus and Tristana here have been able to find some decent engages for themselves, but not really a whole lot of success. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Chuj has been doing Chuj things and just trying to make sure that he can farm against this Volibear, who's been... That top lane has been pretty quiet, I'll say. So now, you know, still a relatively quiet game in comparison to where we were before. Only 7 kills so far in this 12-minute game. And we got Dragon spawning in just a little bit. So if there was any action to happen, it is sure to happen soon.
And one thing I did see, fight happening actually. Doki,
yeah, Sholas, Doki might actually be caught out here.
My.
No, Sholas immediately goes down here. Now Attila is the only person left, hopping onto the other side of this fight, looking to try to find Doki here, but goes down to the double kill as Infernos might be caught up by Magic Labs here, so they're looking for a little bit more. Not going to be able to find it, but that's a 3 for nothing, and they're going to be able to pick up this Ocean Drake as well, as rawr, once again, is in the driver's seat a little bit more definitively now, with about 1,900 gold in their pockets over their opponents, and Cloud Soul is now the soul of this map.
Yeah, Doki was not happy losing that first game. Clearly, he came ready and willing to fight in this game. He woke up in this game on the sad mummy and just chose violence. You know, he was like, you know what? I know it's not great to trade into a scaling champion, but I'm just gonna keep killing him. Yep. You know, he's 1 and 3 now. You know, he's somehow again still keeping up in CS because Rise. You know, I don't want to put Hyperion out of this yet because I know the insurance that Rise has, and here's Hyperion actually.
Yeah, they're diving onto Doki here right now. They've gone through the temporal trespass here. They're looking for that last bit of damage on Doki here. Shut down for Nautilus here, as Attila is going to use that last reset to get away after killing Caitlyn down to the bot side there. And Fernosk, all 4 members are here. They can push onto this turret, get some place for themselves. Turfo, ooh. Looking for a cheeky kill onto Attila here. Might be able to find it, but Vex Alistair coming in from the side here does not have the depth charge. Good hook onto the backside here. Teleport coming through from Ahri here. They need to leave right now. Vex Alistair does go down. Judge is being fought up in the top side here, looking to try to get away. Magic Labs looking for a little bit more on the bot side here. Spirit Flame goes through, but look at the damage return for the red team here. Dodges a last chance that he could get from the Ahri damage, and Fernos comes out alive to tell the tale, and finally the gold has swung into Hyperion's favor.
And it is right back to basically dead even. It's virtually still in rawr's favor, unfortunately. Nautilus there with 3 of those kills, one of them being the fat Doki shutdown. Really unfortunate to not see that going to the Kayn. Might have even potentially given the Kayn form. He was hitting that Amumu for so long. But really unfortunate to see both of those kills in the earlier portion of the fight going to the Nautilus. Obviously, sometimes it can't be controlled, but that Amumu kill should have gone to the Kayn.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not ideal, but sometimes KS stands for kill secured. So, you know, it's not ideal, but at the end of the day, not like it's the worst thing. You still get a decent chunk of gold into your pockets. You're still getting the assist gold. There's still a lot of things to love about that play for sure. As now,
Absolutely.
yeah, as now,
So
you know, Hyperion sitting pretty good right here, as they're going to get a whole bunch of damage on that turret right there.
yeah. So we do actually see Trinity Force coming out from the Volibear. Charm misses. See, and look, Rise is already getting able to that. He's getting to that point where he can trade back. He's, you know, took an unfortunate back end of that trade, but the early portion of that trade was very powerful from the Rise, actually. He has Merc Treads now. He can start tanking up those combos a little bit better, and without the risk of an Ignite to take him out, it's a very strong gank coming in topside. Ooh, good flash.
Yeah, just going to use the ultimate to get away as well, but look at the burst damage coming through for rawr here. Doki taking a whole lot, knocked into the air. Here comes Rost. Umbral Trespass going to come through, pick up the kill. Now Sholas is looking for a little bit more. Hit stick taken incredibly low here, going to grab that shield for themselves. This is the big ultimate to turn it around. Magic Collapse comes out huge. Holy moly, the turnaround from rawr was absolutely incredible.
Hit stick is massive on this Volibear right now. He is 3-0-1. He is going to get this tower. First tower was taken bot side while that fight was happening, but it is still going to be a massive amount of gold into his pockets. He's down 30 CS, but I don't know for sure, but he is definitely going to be up gold on this Graves, and he is now up a level as well. He is going to be a menace now. This Graves is going to have to be very careful. He does have the shield bow completed, but I don't think it's not gonna be much, you know, against this Volibear. He's gonna have so much healing. He's gonna have so much attack speed with this lethal tempo rune. And props to both mid laners for making it up there for that play. Unfortunate that the Rise couldn't kill the volley in time before the Ahri got there, but well played by both of them on that roam.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, that ultimate from Volibear really came out huge there. Like, that was the big turnaround that they needed. So much AoE damage that could immediately be followed on by Magic Claps, giving them another easy couple of lined up folks to really be able to finish off those last bit of kills. Holy moly.
And still, despite the kill score being heavily in rawr's favor, the gold lead is not that big. It is only 700 gold at this point. The game is still, it could go either way. And with Hyperion having scaling on their side, if I'm them right now, I'm sitting pretty, honestly. You know, you still have that Rise insurance. Rise is still, it just gets easier and easier for him to farm. You know, Graves is just going to keep farming. He goes great into the late game. Kayn goes great into the late game. Tristan is only going to get stronger with that Kraken Slayer. Eventually, Amumu will be very easy for her to kill. You know, if I'm Hyperion, I'm actually happy right now. They have position over this dragon, and Volibear's top. You know,
yeah, Volibear is top. He does have that teleport, however, but if they want to capitalize on it, that teleport needs to happen now. They need to go in, but that's going to be the initiation by Doki here. He is caught out 1v5, though. That's going to be one going down, and now the rest of the team. Huge knockup from the Nautilus as well. Double kill for the Rise. They're looking for a little bit more. Attila has already jumped in. They can't go through. That's going to be the Realm Warp coming through, and Fernos is now on the other side of this fight. They have to pincer them into this downside here. Great charm by Magic Claps. Jump forward by Attila. Look at these jumps back and forth. Great knockup as well. Holy moly, it's a 4-for-1. Hit sticks only. Consolation prizes that they're doing so much damage to these top lane turrets here with the Rift Herald. Might be able to grab it as well. So they are able to tie up the gold thanks to that push, but holy moly, what a bunch of kills going into the pockets of Hyperion right now. And doesn't look like Hitstick is going to pay too much for that.
So all of Raw right now is wondering, where is my Volibear? Where is my Volibear? But he said, I'm taking top. What are you guys doing? It's a Cloud Dragon. I'm taking the top lane turret. I just exposed an inhibitor in 19 minutes. Why are you even fighting? And I kind of agree. I think I think what Raw should have done was just give up that dragon. Or even just let Doki try to go for a steal. I think that's honestly okay at this point. Honestly, I don't think he should go for a steal. It's a Cloud Dragon. It's kind of whatever. With Volibear having that Rift Herald, I didn't even realize he went and soloed it while that was happening. He you know, if rawr just waits there and maybe tries to stall some backs with, you know, Caitlyn and Karma range, he could have taken an inhibitor before 20.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's ideal. Obviously, you don't want to just hand Rise all that free farm or Graves, but that top lane tower falling could mean, you know, Volibear could walk up and take an inhibitor really anytime he wants from now. And it would have been such a good swing for rawr if they just could have gotten away from that dragon alive. Oh, it's
now
warded.
Doki might have found their way out of this engagement, but great depth charge here by Nautilus. A whole bunch of knockups here are going to keep them CC'd for a very long time. His stick is going to give them just a little bit more time, but Attila is going in, looking for blood here. Magic Claps on the wrong side of this fight, gets rooted up doubly, and is going to be turned into paste, as now the rest of the team. Shoal is diving forward, looking for a little bit more. Turfo throws out the chains, gonna root them in, looking for that slow onto Kryptonic Killer. It is not going to be enough. They're going to be able to get away from this team. 4 members of the red team are up. They got a jungler, they got an AD carry. This looks like a recipe for a Baron up in this top half of Kryptonic Killer, and Turfo have anything to say about it.
And Hyperion's doing it. You know, I said what they would do. They just had to let the Rise farm, and now they've pulled away with so many kills. The Rise is so fed now. Somebody block for Attila.
Oh,
okay.
Well,
that's a massive shutdown going over to Caitlyn now. That was a 600 gold shutdown.
Yeah, and that's also gold that's not going to be able to be farmed for that's also another person without the Baron buff too.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty big thing to happen right there, and kind of happened relatively randomly too. So
yeah,
Hyperion. Yeah, I guess they just weren't in position, or they didn't want anyone else to die. I'm confused. I'm just as confused as everyone else.
Yeah. It's not a huge deal that Attila doesn't have the Baron, because realistically, when they're pushing with the Baron, he's never going to be solo pushing, so the Baron's going to be on those minions anyway. But it is a little unfortunate to see that shutdown go over to Caitlyn. That gave her basically perfect gold to get that collector finished, which means that she's going to be very strong around this this dragon fight. Caitlyn needs to be very careful.
Yeah. Now they definitely need to be careful around this Caitlyn for sure. Look at that gold that she's got right now sitting in her pockets. Kryptonic Killer definitely putting a whole bunch of gold into their pockets thanks to that shutdown as well. Like, we're now getting closer and closer to where Caitlyn spikes back up, right? The second that she has her net on a very low cooldown, the second that she's able to place 5 traps, she becomes this head-shotting machine. She's able to just basically throw them one after another. Right, it's crazy, like just how much damage she can do in these late game scenarios where it's just like, oh, it's Caitlyn, she's an early game champion. Yeah, it's weird, but then she just spikes up later with how much incidental damage she has, with how easy it is to stack her passive, how much attack speed she has, and then being able to chain multiple headshots together with the traps and the nets as well.
Yeah, and not even just that, but the zone control that she gains as well. Hyperion have a tendency here, at least in this game, to kind of move around as a group of 5. They'll kind of enter and exit kind of grouped together. If Caitlyn can get to one of these objectives first and just see where they're coming from and just place a line of traps across their entrance, how do they walk into her? You know,
yeah, like look at what's already happening right now. Where's Vex Alistair going to go? He has to like kite himself, like he has to like squeeze himself in between multiples of these traps here. He's gonna get rooted up right here. That's gonna be the engage right here. Doki goes onto the back line here, but Vex Alistair is already the first one to fall. Sholis is gonna be able to find a kill for himself as well. The Emerald Trespass is huge, but now they're looking for more. Re-initiation by Hitstick here. Chuj is taking incredibly low, but look at Infernosk here, still able to do a whole bunch of damage, and Chuj is still in this fight as well. And Magic Collapse is looking for the last bit of good charm here, but onto Rise. They're still looking to try to get away. That's a decent chunk of damage, but no one has fallen just yet. Infernox needs that last bit of damage, going to be able to find Karma, and now Ari is the last member alive, looking for that burst damage. The item does not land here. Magic Cloud flashes over the wall. Too tanky. Infernox comes out huge. If he wants to look for this, he still has Realm Warp. All right, looks like he's not going to go for it this time. He is healed up. They are going to grab the Cloud Drake. So a decent chunk of gold's in their pockets. They lose some members, but they're still up 4.4 thousand gold. They tie up the dragon score as well. You know, it wasn't the cleanest fight by Hyperion, but they still come out on top and grab themselves the objective as well.
Oh, and there it is. That's the Frozen Heart on the Rise. That's huge power spike. Rise is, I hate to say, Rise is practically unkillable. I don't think anybody on this this rawr team can really touch him. He's so powerful right now. He's just gonna keep farming. He's just gonna keep getting more. He's got an amplifying tome now in his inventory. He's gonna get another AP item, and it's gonna be scary. he can just kind of do whatever he wants at this point. You saw him there. He was just kind of running around the fight, dealing constant damage. He never runs out of mana with that tier item. He has Everfrost on such a low cooldown constantly, and now he's got an unbelievable amount of armor. Fire? No, it's a fire cannon. And Caitlyn's, she's not going to be able to do much damage with all that armor. That collector is not going to be able to kill the Rise. She needs her Infinity Edge bad.
Yeah. Or even, like, I mean, at this point, I feel like a Lord Dominic's might be able to go a long way as well, right? But this looks more like a crit build. That's a great hook by Vex Alistair here. That's going to be a depth charge forcing Kryptonic to flash away, but they don't need it as the burst damage is already huge. The rest of the blue team is coming through here. Jolas finally re-enters after that Humble Trespass, looking for Kryptonic Killer here. Well, now the numbers advantage is in favor of rawr here. The Hyperion might have just tossed this away, as that's a huge bunch of gold going into their pocket. So Tossed might have been a little too aggressive there, but they are certainly going to lose a whole lot off of that engage right here. Is now Infernosk found out Magic Collapse does have exhaust as well. Here comes Doki from over the wall as well. You just said how tanky this Rise is. There they go. They're out of there already. Thanks to Phase Rush and that shield from Fimbulwinter. Yeah, they're not going to be chased down this time. As Chudge now on the boss side here, hit stick. Trying to 1v1, but look at these fancy feet coming down from Graves here, using the minions to body block as well.
Volibear does not have heal cut, and this Graves is double lifesteal items. He cannot 1v1 him until he gets some heal cut into his items. He needs a Bramble Vest, something like that. That's the only way he'll have a chance against this Graves. He has the Frozen Heart already, which is good, but you cannot fight him without heal cut. He has too much healing. I really, especially in this scenario, I could understand why the build variation would have happened this way, because this build on Caitlyn is very good. But in this scenario where you're against you have so much health because of Rise passive, but you need me personally, I would have gone Gale Force or just Kraken. Honestly, I think Kraken is fine. The engage isn't that heavy. Go Kraken straight into Lord Dominic's, and then your Infinity Edge. You would have so much damage, and you would be shredding through these people. Or you could even, it would just, that Lord Doms early in the game would have been very valuable. I agree with you on that. But a lot of ADCs in this meta, they rely so heavily on that Infinity Edge spike to actually be able to carry in these fights and kill these tanks. Like, the Lord Doms does give you that good damage, but it caps itself off with that Infinity Edge. You don't get the real, satisfying kiting and damage until you have that boost on your crit damage.
Yeah, for sure. As now we're looking for this little kind of fighting around the jockeying for positioning around this Baron buff here, as I feel like both teams are just kind of maybe abandoning the Baron buff here and might start making their way towards the bottom half of the map here. So we have a bit of a 1-3-1 coming out from Hyperion. By Hit Stick's ultimate, and that's a 1-for-0. That's pretty huge. This does open up the Baron possibility for rawr here if they want to go for it. But Infernosk, look at these split pushes that are happening around the map right now.
He's level 16 now. He's got 2 levels on the Ahri. He still has that 600 gold shutdown. He now has a Void Staff component. And the Ahri is very strong, but I really don't think there's much of an angle for an Ahri to look for like a one-shot on this Rise without just getting bursted out. And wow, there's a trade here. So Hyperion's going for the dragon, and I like this play by rawr. They just say, all right, we'll just take the Baron. We have damage for her. We have Caitlyn. She still does damage to the Baron. She may not deal damage to your tanks, but she'll deal damage to the worm. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely you definitely can't underestimate the amount of damage that they can do in it. And this is why a lot of teams will go and try to put as much pressure onto the first 2 Drakes as possible, right? Because then it kind of forces your opponent to be like, hey, we don't want to put them on soul point. We now have to kind of value these drakes as we get later and later into the game. The problem is Hyperion is kind of overvaluing the dragons at this point, right? Because it's a Cloud Drake. It's not that good as Infernos casts a pop flash here. Cloud Drake now is not as good thanks to the changes that they got with the Hextech Drake being entered into the game. Right now we have Cloud Drake just gives a bunch of movement speed, which is fine, but like that's not your main initiation tool. There's no really anyone on your team that can really take advantage of having such high movement speed, right? Nautilus doesn't need it, but we'll see after this fight. There's a great depth charge on a Kryptonic Killer here. They're looking for a little bit more. Chuch is already taking so much damage, and they're going to fall. The first to fall in this fight, this Ember Trespass is going to be gone to the backside of the blue team here. Solus is looking to maybe take one with him, but he's not going to do it as they fall. Now that's going to be the ultimate pop by hit stick here as they're trying to finish off these targets on the blue team. Kryptonic Killer is taken incredibly low. They might be able to find it with a rebound off of one of the spells, but not going to be able to find that. That's going to be the ace in the hole coming across, but it's going to be blocked by the Rise. They're able to tell the tale, but will they be able to defend the base? 5 members of rawr are running into the base. They were down in gold at the start of this fight. They were down in gold for a bunch of this game, but now they're knocking on the front door. They're knocking on the Nexus. They're knocking on the Nexus turrets. They're looking to take game number 2 here as Hyperion tries to cling on for as long as they can here. Dive in by Doki underneath the turret, but Infernos is going to be the one picking up the kill here. Attila is free auto-attacking on the backside here. Gets a reset, jumps in. Can't even find more. Jumps again. Kryptonic Killer is right there. Attila looking for a little bit more. They're so close. One auto-attack slowed. Looking for a little bit more. Absolutely not. Kryptonic Killer comes out huge. Judge comes from the side. Slow. Can they find the last bit of damage? Alistair, where are you looking? Oh my God. Shut down my graves. Shut down my graves.
Vex Alistar is changing his Spotify playlist. He's trying to find the Red IRL, everything.
Hold on. I need to change it to Linkin Park. I was listening to Papa Roach before. I gotta switch it real quick, buddy. You need an auto attack. He's right next to you. Oh yeah. Hold on, I get you. I got you right.
Unfortunately, Attila does not take into account the Baron minion damage. He is still a little ADCs, just a little Yordle. He can't tank up those strong Baron minions. And he just gets basically soloed out by the Baron minions. Then it's easier for Kryptonic Killer to just hit him with anything, really. You know, that's where the collector value is, you know. And I really got proven wrong there. I mean, the Kayn went in 1v3, and I thought he was just going to kill all 3, or at least sustain through it. He was healing so much, but Caitlyn found a collector angle, and it just popped him, and then it looked really good for rawr, but rawr just gets a little too greedy. And I kind of saw it coming a little bit. I didn't get a chance to say, but they're pushing in with super low health bars, and Rise just feasts on things like that. And since Rise can just deal all that damage, they had to focus him, and then Tristana just got to free hit. And you never want to let a reset champion free hit. Doesn't matter what champion it is. If there's a reset champion on that team and they're free hitting, oh, Graves.
Yeah, Judge is in some trouble here. Going to be able to dash away finally. Good body block, but the Curse of the Sad Mummy is going to keep him alive for a little bit longer. Lifeline Shield comes out huge. Judge is going to be able to live to tell the tales. Attila is going to be the one picking up the kill on Doki. Attila can only attack Volibear right now. Not the greatest of targets. Dives onto the bot side here. Magic Collapse. Dives right back in to answer, but can't quite find the damage they're looking for. Zolas is looking for more, but can't get the heals they're looking for. Attila is resetting, though. Quadra kill. Holy moly, there's the ace as well. rawr comes out huge. 4 kills for the Tristana, 1 kill for the Graves. That's a real great way for them to get back into this game and pick up some turrets for themselves.
Amazing outcome there for Hyperion. Really unfortunate. Kryptonic Killer was actually hitting for that entire fight. I was watching him the entire time. He was hitting constantly. He has the Infinity Edge finish now. Last Whisper in the inventory as well. He's starting to deal a lot of damage now. Once that Lord Dominix is completed, if it gets to be completed, it looks like it may not. But unfortunately, the Ahri had a Tristana bomb on him, 1 tick away from exploding, and it almost took him out, and it left Attila just to jump on him and Goomba stomp him. And Sola's looking to be picked up here for Hyperion. This is looking really good. They're not going to make the same mistake rawr did in Overstay. I like that. Yeah.
I mean, this is a real great way for them to kind of even out this mid lane, right? That's exactly what they need to do right now. They need to make sure that these waves have to get a little bit more attention from rawr here in order to in order to truly just keep them out of their base as much as possible. Obviously, right? They're down a Nexus turret, they're down an inhibitor as well. Any wave that goes into their base could potentially smell doom for them, especially with 2 teleports on the enemy team. As now both teams kind of jockeying for a position around this Baron that's going to spawn in about 10 seconds here.
Kane does have the Death Dance finish, which is really good item for him with that Cleaver finish and the Gore Drinker. That new passive after they changed Gore Drinker is really strong on Kane. And if he can, find a takedown to get that big burst of healing, he can definitely make a big swing in a fight. Tristana just hit full build, finish off that Guardian Angel, so has that second life, can, play a little up, can take some more risks. And Rise has finished that Void Staff, now will start dealing a lot of damage. It's not going to be bursting out, someone one shot, but with how tanky he is, he will be dealing significant damage to pretty much everyone on that team.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what he can do. If I'm rawr here, though, I really want them to try to get Magic Claps some more gold here and get him that death cap. He is so close. If they get him the death cap, one shots could come out onto anybody. With Void Staff, death cap, and Shadow Flame, anyone could get one shot. Look at this.
Ooh, they don't need the death cap. That's a huge shutdown on a Chudge here, and that's a 4v5 underneath the Baron here with next to no HP bars. It was such a risky take as Infernos just walks up and ignites. Interesting choice as Doki looking for the hook here. Can't quite land it. The Bandage Toss is not going to land, but with that 4v5, they're now just going to immediately walk into the base right now. rawr looking to end the game. Hyperion looking to hang on for just a little bit longer here. They need this 2-0 victory if they want to move on into the upper bracket for playoffs here. As now rawr continuing to try to dismantle the base one at a time. They're going to grab this top inhibitor as well. Hyperion is, this is actually might be good for Hyperion. They're just taking their time. They're not looking to end the game just yet. They're just going to back away. They did have the numbers advantage, but it looks like they want to end the game around Baron. It's going to force the fight down there, and it's going to give the advantage over to rawr, which gives them the opportunity to end the game if Hyperion gets too greedy.
This is going to be a tough one for rawr to pull off. Oh, they're going for a bush cheese. I actually prefer this.
No.
I like this a lot. Let's see what happens.
Come on, Vex. No. All right, there's the engage. They're already able to find out Nautilus here. Zolas is diving onto the back end here. Dokkan is taken incredibly low. Chudge is going to be the one finding the kill there. Hitstick is now the next target here. They're looking incredibly low. Zolas is flashed into the backside here. Umbral Trespass on a Hitstick here. Looking for that last bit of damage. Can't quite find the kill onto the bear here. Where is Tristana? Finally joining the fight, but now real low HP. Can't find a way into this fight. Trying to heal off of the bear as much as they can. It's a triple kill for the Caitlyn so far. 1v4. Hyperion. Real low HP bars. Are they
in the game?
Not. Are they okay? Okay. We have a TP for Magic Claps. So I'm surprised that they weren't going to try to end it. I guess they didn't have waves pushing in their favor, but like these death timers are really long. Okay, sure. Baron buff sounds fine. Baron buff is a safe play here.
Yeah.
This is at least good to give them a way to end the game now, right? Cloud Soul is not the most important soul on the planet, and it's going to be a very long time before Elder Drake spawns. Hyperion just has to stop face checking a lot of this fog of war here. If they're going to sit in bushes, fine, right? But place your wards just kind of outside of vision and walk away, right? As far as you can inside your own vision, and then just walk away. Because now you have to be ready for those rawr bush ganks as much as possible. You're right?
Okay,
now we've hit the point where gold doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah. Ari's still looking for that last item. Same with a couple people here, but Rise completing that full build. Obviously, his items that he is building are fairly cheap. He did get that Force of Nature. Will be really taking no damage from Karma anymore, but Ari does have that Void Staff, and like I said, the Death Cap. Ari is very strong, and I don't know if it's going to be enough. They are looking for a fight here, though.
Yeah, Attila, where?
Oh, no!
What was that?
Trap Caitlyn, yep, wow.
My God.
Okay,
well, the fight is happening now. A double kill for Caitlyn so far, but there's no damage dealers left for Hyperion here, as now Infernos is caught out 1v5, looking for a kill on the Magic Claps, maybe, but they're not going to be able to follow it through with how much CC was there. And Wow.
That is
A
unfortunate.
lot of question marks about that play.
A little bit, yeah.
Certainly interesting for sure, as now rawr is going to just end the game after all that. That's game number 2 going over to rawr. And if I sound disappointed, I'm not disappointed. I'm just confused. I'm confused.
Yeah, me too. I was a little confused as to where Tristana even came from.
Yeah.
I was just kind of watching the top side of the fight, and then I just see this little Yordle walking down, and Ari's just right there. The charm did go wide, but it doesn't matter. You're an ADC. You can't be anywhere near that fight in that position. And it's unlucky, for Attila. I don't know how he ended up there, but it's unfortunate because when you get into a position like that, you have two choices. Your choices is walk through it and try to hope they don't notice you, or walk the long way and your team likely loses the fight without you at that point in the game. So it was really kind of a checkmated position.
Yeah.
And it's sad to see it end that way because it is a bit of an anticlimax. There's been so many entertaining fights in that game. There was so back and forth, amazing fights by both teams. I really thought Hyperion had it there for a while. They had the scaling comp. The Rise was so strong.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that Caitlyn was doing so much damage. Ahri was just popping people. And that's just the value of the new Ahri, the S plus Ahri. She is so powerful, even in the late game now.
Yeah.
And Caitlyn just goes Exodia at that point in the game. She just autos the tanks for like 600-700 damage, normal auto attacks, and then headshots them for like 1,000 damage. You can't deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I want to talk about is it's personally to me, I don't think it came down to any sort of like particular champion picks for me with regards to how rawr won that. It just seemed like Hyperion was just constantly just walking outside of their own vision, just kind of nonchalantly into an Amumu and an Ahri and even to a lesser degree a Karma as well. But still, like, they were just kind of walking nonchalantly in these late game areas, just without vision and just expecting nothing to happen. Like, they were just gambling a whole lot. And that last fight happened because Nautilus was kind of out of position, kind of pincered in this area that didn't have a whole lot of wards, like physically putting his body there, right? And then he hooked, I think it was Karma, and then the fight started. And then it was like this kind of like this was kind of out of nowhere. And a lot of it was, there were a lot of times where it just like, Hyperion, what's going on? Like, why are we coming out of this bush here and into places that you don't know where it is? But with that, we are going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be in picks and bans of Coin Flip rawr up against Hyperion Gaming. Game number 3, sure to be a banger. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Baby.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Wonderworld, and we are finally here. After 2 long games, after 2 grueling matches back and forth, Hyperion Gaming and rawr have now arrived at game number 3. Now we are here with our bands underway, picks about to start. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Wonderworld, and we are ready to get this final week of games for Zero Gravity Gaming underway and finished, wrapped up for y'all tonight, as now these last 2 teams are here to duke it out for the remaining spot in the upper bracket, as might be a little anticlimactic, but because of the win from the other team, that I'm sure Infernal Dive, because of Infernal Dive's win, Hyperion Gaming is now seeded 3rd. So who knows? Maybe we'll see something wacky, wild, and crazy come out from Hyperion this time around, but I'm sure this game number 3 will still be a banger regardless.
I kind of really hope nobody told Hyperion. I assume they probably found out, but I really want Hyperion to play there. I guess, yeah. I really want... Oops. Xayah. I really like the Xayah pick. I've been spamming Xayah. Lethality Xayah is so strong right now, and it's so oppressive to play against in lane.
Okay.
I really hope they play Lethality Xayah. I literally played it all the way through my plat promos, and I had plat on it. I like 3-0 my promos. It's so broken. I'm like 4-0, 100% win rate on it right now. It's dumb. Bans stay the same for rawr. Hyperion switches it up and picks up the Amumu and the Karma. I think that's fine. I think the Amumu was a big issue for them early game, and it ended up in being a big snowball for that game Braum. I like that as a pocket counter to the Xayah. I think that's a good idea. I don't think it's going to cause that much of a difference in the lane because the Braum shield is on such a long cooldown in comparison to the Xayah poke. But I like the theory crafting here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Braum's still 100% a very strong champion, regardless. I mean, I'm liking a lot of the... Okay, I was going to say I like a lot of these big beefy boys that they're drafting in the front line here, but Ezreal, definitely a very good champion to follow up with the Braum as well. A very slippery champion, already kind of hard to lock down, that already Braum is going to provide a whole lot of protection for in these kind of engagements here. Not going to help him out against Nautilus Depth Charge, as I found out last week. Braum's shield does not block that ability. But sure, Braum is still a very strong champion regardless, and it will mean that Hyperion might need to favor more melee as opposed to more ranged.
Yeah, and the Ezreal Braum duo in the bot lane is actually a very underrated duo. It poses a big threat actually in 2v2 situations just off of the ability that Ezreal Q actually procs concussive blows, which is Braum's passive. So, you know, a quick auto Q auto from an Ezreal will proc that passive, and you can easily kill someone with that, especially with like a first strike. You know, you will do so much damage. And I really hope we see that come out from the Ezreal, and I really hope they play it aggressively, because based on the champs they picked, it's going to be a pretty safe bot lane. Obviously, Ezreal, Xayah, 2 of the safer ADCs in the game, especially with how volatile the bot lanes have been in the last 2 games. I guess both teams have just decided, you know, we'll pick some safer stuff, we'll stop dying, you know, we'll go late, and I think that's good. I also really like the Trundle pick that's coming out here. I think Trundle is very strong, and it's a flex. I hope they flex it on Hyperion.
Sure. I mean, this is definitely going to be an interesting match for sure. And once again, I still want the Hyperion to come out on top here. I think Hyperion has had these games be very, very close. I think they made some pretty... I think the last game came down to a couple blunders kind of towards the end of the game, and Hyperion was pretty much in the driver's seat for a decent chunk of that game. So Hyperion still has a chance to win this match for sure coming into game 3 here, and they have definitely drafted a decent chunk here that are really good. You know, if we're looking to protect the Xayah, they definitely brought a whole bunch of
Yes.
Yeah, they've definitely drafted a whole bunch of champs here to do so. But speaking of protection, the best way to protect your AD carry is to make sure that when they die, they just come right back to life as the Time Squad question mark?
They gotta do it. You have to do it.
Come on, give me the 80s cartoon duo of 2 people, the time chasers, the time splitters, if you will.
You
let's
have
see
to
it.
do it.
Lock it in. Lock it in. Let's see. Ah,
No!
boo this man. Boo.
Ooh.
Boo.
Oh, that would have been so.
Whatever.
I'm really
Horse.
happy with the Zillion. I think the Zillion's really strong here. I think Victor's okay into it, and I like Victor. Just in general, Victor's so strong, and Trundle is so good at ganking mid as well pre-6. I think they can really hurt the Zillion if they play it properly. But God, Zillion is so good. Zillion's just such a good champion, and not a lot of people play it, but it's actually really easy. And Malphite locked in. That is bold. But they really want that engage. I respect it. AoE engage is always smart.
Yeah, I mean, Malphite still is also a champion that can just incidentally have a lot of damage depending on the build that they go, right? There was that brief moment where Malphite was going Everfrost and just had a ton of damage just because Everfrost just says you get AP for every legendary item you have, right? And that's enough for Malphite to just press R one time, slam the ground, and suddenly half your HP bar is gone. You know, Malphite is a champion that once again that Judge could potentially carry on. Now it's going to be harder than for say Graves or Aatrox, but especially after that Graves game, I don't fault them for wanting to go into a more kind of defensive kind of champion here.
I agree. I think there's potential for dives coming in top with this Hecarim. I guess they might not have the damage for it, but if they get mid to come as well, maybe it's a possibility. Like, the potential for dives is so powerful just off of, like, they have Volibear stopping towers, they have Hecarim just fearing him and CCing him and doing tons of damage with Ghost and the speed that he gets. And, even if you blunder it and someone starts tanking tower and dies, you have Zillion.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Yeah, I mean you put the nail on the head. Like, there's everything is on Kryptonic Killer right now. Like, once again, they've drafted a composition that's like, hey, we're going to protect the AD carry at all costs, right? And even if the AD carry goes down, we still have a res for them, or not exactly a res, right? But it's still just like we time it well, and they're going to be able to live through these team fights really, really well. And we have a front line to give us some solid initiation. And, we have a whole lot of other good tools to protect our AD carry as well. So lots to love about the rawr comp here.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I do really like rawr's draft, but I definitely can't fault Hyperion's draft. What they did was they drafted a comp that's very simple. It's very easy to execute. It scales very well. It's just simple, gold League of Legends, competitive draft. Yeah. rawr, like I, predicted before we came back off the break, they drafted something spicy, and I respect them for it. I love seeing the Zillion pick, even though some people think it's like boring or something. I think it takes a lot of skill to pilot well in the mid lane, especially to farm with it in the mid lane. It's very difficult to farm with. And I'm really excited to see how Magic Claps can pull it off. And it's going to come down, like you said, it's going to be a lot of weight on Kryptonic Killer's shoulders. If he can, pop off on this Ezreal, and Attila hovering the Swain there, I know that he's a big Swain player. But Kryptonic Killer is going to have to really be pumping damage, staying safe, not tanking those Malphite ultis, not getting, poked out by Victor, tanking that Chaos Storm, or, if it's Lethality Xayah, like I said, 1 QE by that Xayah could be half his health. The Xayah is so powerful. And
right.
A good Ezreal player will carry this game. And I think Kryptonic Killer had it banned before. I think this is his shot to prove why rawr is first overall in this group and why his Ezreal should be banned.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely agree with all that there. I think the biggest thing for me here, if we're taking a look back over at Hyperion Sword, I'm actually kind of really liking this Trundle pick. I'm not a fan of folks who pick Trundle very early on. I think Trundle to me is always a counter pick, right? But he's really good into champions that don't have, some sort of dash, jump, or leap, right? And he's really good into champions that have very high defenses that he can steal. And there's a lot of that on rawr. There's 3 tanky champions. There's about 4 here, or say 3.5, I'll say, that don't have any sort of like dash, jump, or leap, right? The half here is for Braum, who has it on a basic ability, but like has to jump to something, like has to have it like a target on the other end. That Trundle Pillar is going to be very hard to work around, especially considering like in the mid lane, you could just be set up and slowed inside of a gravity well and then have the Trundle Pillar come down right on top of that as well. So it's going to be really easy for Sholas to gank these lanes and get some decent chunk and get some decent value out of them as well. So really looking for Sholas and Doki for these kind of early ganks, because I suspect that Hecarim wants to do like a real quick first clear and then immediately go into a lane and do something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a fun game to watch. I'm excited to see how the fights go, because I think both sides have very interesting ways of going about their fights, especially in the context of being against each other. Like seeing Hyperion trying to engage with the Nautilus Malphite and seeing rawr trying to kite it back and disengage it. It's going to be very fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of love on both sides here. I think we've both said our kind of piece about this game. The only thing left to do is wait for our Spectre delay and jump into the Rift in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And when we do come back, we are going to be on the Rift of game number 3 of rawr versus Hyperion Sword. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Game. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Wonder World, and we are ready to get this game underway as rawr once again going in for that tasty, tasty level 1 here, trying to get some vision on the enemy jungler, perhaps. Maybe even a level 1 if Attila and Vex Alistair stay just a little bit too much longer.
Unfortunately, on that invade, Ezreal did get spotted, didn't get his way into that bush quick enough to not get spotted. And unfortunately for me, it is lethal tempo on the Xayah, so we are going to see attack speed. I'm a little bummed about that, but I do understand. You know,
they're going so deep for this, right? Is it just me?
Yeah, it's definitely not just you. I mean, they have Braum, you know, the Braum level 1. And especially with like,
okay. Well, hashtag never punished one time. Oh, no. Well,
Doki just pops out and is like, hey guys, okay, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, you can't blame him for trying. So, level 1 to steal the buff, success. Level 1 to find first blood, not success.
Yeah. I mean, wards to get, both teams get a ward on Doki's blue buff, which likely means that Doki is probably, he might get to 3 buff here. Which is going to be huge, because Trundle getting put behind like that is going to be a struggle, because Trundle really needs to try to get ahead early, because his scaling isn't the greatest.
Yeah, for sure here. This is definitely a, you know, it's come down to the wire. You know, this is game number 3. You even said, like, this could be a Silver Scrapes moment if rawr is able to get a comeback victory in game number 3. You know, this is a whole lot of things going into rawr's favor right now coming into this game. You know, and they definitely have, you know, I don't even need to think that they didn't even need to win this series, but, you know, they're still coming through and giving us impressive games regardless.
Absolutely.
Still.
And I am very happy to see, okay, so Trundle did get to run to that blue buff on Doki's side. Doki did actually clear the entire blue side of Zola's. I was kind of hoping that Hitstick would force push that wave top side, and I would hope, because Zilean is pushing right now as well, because he does have control over the wave on Victor before he has the E upgrade. And I really wanted to see both solo laners hard push their waves and rotate to that blue buff to get Trundle off of it, because with Trundle only having red, they realistically could have pushed him off. He does have tempo, so he's a bit scary, but like with a Zilean slow on top of him, like it's like a Nasus Wither, you know, like you can't run past him. And Volibear has tempo as well and deals a ton of damage, and I think they could have just forced him off of it. Here's Doki going for a fight on him as well.
Yeah,
Doki...
that's a really good troll pillar there. And Magic Collapse here really can't enter this fight, so Doki has to back off here. You know, Magic Collapse real low on HP, insanely low on mana. Can't really go in here and fight 1v2 as Infernosk really not wasting any time, putting as much pressure onto Doki as possible. And meanwhile, Hook on the bot lane here. Turbo going to throw out the shield, going to jump down towards his AD carry. Solus still look for a little bit more. Troll Pillar comes out. Doki's in some trouble here, going to be slowed up a whole bunch. Yeah, but they're out of there. The bot lane has come up to finally assist the jungler here, is now Red Team might be able to grab it. Now Infernosk here. We'll have to see who grabbed at the end of that, but that's going to be a slow onto Infernosk here. Zolus has to flash over the wall. Gravity Well comes down with just the last bit of mana that Infernosk has. Who got the crab? Who got the crab? It was the blue team. Blue team gets the crab. As now that's going to be Doki going into the bot lane here. Ignite is ticking. Vex Alistair still has to run for their life here, taking to about 50% HP. Going to have to back off here. And Chudge fighting in the top lane. I think he's fine.
So this is it's a bunch of little small things for Doki, but he comes out with a massive victory, at least in my eyes. He cleared the whole bot side of Trundle. Trundle only got the blue buff and the Gromp before getting forced out. Doki ends up getting both crabs with that smite and now gets to farm his whole red side. He is going to end up well, virtually one camp because of the Gromp, because of the wolves, sorry. He isn't going to farm them before he backs, I assume, because I think he's going to assume that Trundle took it. But if he does identify that they're there, he can actually clear all the way from his red side to his Raptors, all the way up to Gromp, because it will be up in time, and that would be a really strong back for him, I think.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he'll do it, but we will see.
Yeah, and a lot of his his lanes right now are being shoved in, and if he makes that full clear, like, I agree, that's a real big swing for him, and he doesn't really need to gank right now. He doesn't need to be anywhere, right? I mean, if anything, you could argue like, oh, he needs to be on the dragon, right? Because he has prio mid, they got a bit of prio bot. Like, this could just be like an easy, like, go and grab Drake right now. But, you know, Kryptonic Killer doesn't have the Sheen, so the Ezreal damage is going to be fairly low as Turfo here. Gonna have to throw out the shield here. Attila looking for a little bit more, taking incredibly low. The Guardian Shield going to keep him alive for just a little bit longer, but they're going to back away. Just a scuffle back and forth.
That side W damage is a little scary. People underestimate how much damage it can do, and if you tank it for a little too long, you will die. And then, you know, you're tanking it and you're like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then the E hits. And then you're like, oh, I'm not fine. Yeah. You know, suddenly my entire health bar has disappeared and I'm dead. You know, recently, it was, I believe sometime last season, they buffed the Xayah E CC duration. And ever since then, she's actually just become a menace in the 2v2 if you know what you're doing on her. And I know Attila does play a lot of Xayah, so I'm looking forward to see how he pulls it together. I really, yeah, see, just those little bits. That E does a lot of damage.
Yeah, for sure. Here is, yeah, this top lane not looking too good for Chudge this time around. I mean, game number one, it was pretty dominant. Game number two was a lot more even, but now Chudge on this Malphite here not really having a good time. I mean, luckily for them, if Malphite falls behind, they're still worth their ultimate, right? If they can just ult in and just leave. Problem is, Malphites a lot of the time sometimes use their ultimates to live in a lot of scenarios, and if he does get caught out, which he did happen quite a bit in the late game of game number 2, this is going to be a Malphite that might not be as useful as his team would like.
I do just want to point out very impressive CSing from this Ezreal so far. 67 CS in 7.5 minutes. That's very, very good. I believe that's quite near perfect. You know, taking into account the bit of time at the beginning. Wow, Doki gets away with it. Wait, Doki?
Oh yeah, Doki's in some trouble here. Has to use that speed up to get away. The rest of the team slowed up, can't quite find it. Vex Alistair still looking for a little bit more. They're gonna get stunned up, has to flash away, taken incredibly low here. Gonna use that W shield for survive, but just a little bit longer, can't quite find it. Magic Collapse has the Zillion ultimate on top of them, so it's gonna get res if they fall here. They're not going to. Turfo gets the first kill. Attila is going to go down as Kryptonic Killer, picks up the second, and that was not ideal.
Value of Braum, man. Braum hits concussive blows on as many people as he wants, and it's just kill after kill. You just chain him. You know, people, you know, just don't anticipate how much, you know, Braum can do in fights like these. Look at how much he blocks here. He's just blocking Xayah autos. He's blocking Victor Qs, and he's just putting down concussive blows on everybody. Unfortunately, he takes that kill on the Trundle, but it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Kryptonic Killer gets to pick up the kill on Attila, and he's going to be off to the races. Ezreal with a kill early. He's going to be so strong. Doki might get caught up again, though.
Yeah, Doki might be caught up, but he does have maybe a clear path to victory. Yeah, he's got a clear path out of there. Once again, it's like Vex Alistair is playing Nautilus and recognizes that Nautilus is a strong champion, and that's fine, but like it just feels like they're playing way too far forward. And in that previous match there, in that previous fight, like that was kind of the reason why rawr pressed the go button, because Vex Alistair had to flash, and then he wanted to follow up and get the kill, and now Burnosk here. Gonna throw down the gravity well. Gonna scare Braum from pushing any further onto the mid laner here. Liking the roam from Braum. But once again, Vex Alistair needs to at least temper their aggression a little bit. The aggression on Nautilus, great. Nautilus is definitely a good champion to be aggressive on, but you have to be careful because you're not that tanky yet, and you're also on a support salary.
Hitstick trading a lot on the top side, but actually ending up losing the trade pretty heavily. Doki looking for a gank here mid, no flash.
Yeah, they're looking for it right here. And Fernosk is taken pretty low here. Here comes Zolas in from the side here. Doki might go down here. That's going to be the Chaos Storm coming across with the Zillion ultimate. Means that he does get the revive here. He might be able to get out of it. There's the speed up from Zillion as well. Grandpa, the grandfather clock coming in clutch for the big robotic horse.
You know, we were talking about Echo in the draft and the Time Lords. What we actually got was the Speed Demons. You know, this Echo would get to just sprint around the map at Mach 10, and he's just, nobody can touch him.
You know, continue. I have a weird reference to make, but keep going.
In the late game, it's going to be so freaky seeing this guy with Ghost and, you know, oh wow, Hitstick.
Hitstick is in some trouble here, but this turret is definitely helping him out here. Might be able to live for just a little bit longer, but it's a wash up in the top lane.
Oh, if he had ulti there, that could have been an easy 2v1. But go ahead with your reference. I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, the second that you mentioned Time Lords and Speed Demons, the only thing that came to my mind was Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that's been on my mind a lot lately. And I thought that if, like, Time Lords is an archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because in 5Ds there was a time travel arc. Okay, hold on. Kryptonic Killer is getting knocked into the air, and Vex Alistair definitely wants to go forward a little bit more. Going to get stunned up, though. Kryptonic Killer taking incredibly low. Featherstorm comes across. The root is good. They might be able to find 2 kills here. Turfo is going to be able to find that next kill right now, but he might have stayed just a little too long here as that lethal tempo has procced. Not going to be able to do so as Hitstick up on the top lane here. That's going to be the unstoppable force. That's going to be the troll pillar. That's going to be the slam coming down to get on the other side of it, but he's taking out, and once again make sure that Hitstick stays in the lead in this top lane in terms of gold.
And very big for Xayah as well. Ezreal is going to come back with that Divine Sunderer finished. But let's watch this again. This was so impressive. Nautilus ulti goes down, actually walks over the Braum after rooting him and picks up the Ezreal again. Instant ulti, aggressive ulti from the Xayah. You got to know when to use it aggressively, and he does it very well there on Attilia. Unfortunately, not able to pick this kill up. Flash blown by the Braum, and then right up to top lane, and Hitstick, I can't believe he pulled this off. That E-slow is crippling for the Trundle. Yeah. And just enough to take him out. Very well played by Hitstick to turn that situation into winning, or into even. And really well played by the side of rawr on most angles here. But the bot lane seems very even in terms of play right now. I like what both sides are doing. You know, and that's kind of how it's been the whole series. They've just kind of been trading back and forth, like, impressive plays. And that's what I like to see. I like to see good bot lanes, you know, going back and forth. Because in reality, winning 2v2s in bot lane isn't hard if you, you know, play it aggressively enough. And if both teams will play it aggressive, then it's really fun. Because, you know, you get to trade kills back and forth. It gets exciting.
Yeah, we did miss a kill up in the top lane here during that replay there. Doki, once again, insanely fast. Chudge has nowhere to go, doesn't have the unstoppable force, has some decent damage under his belt, but not enough to live.
Doki is so patient, holding on to that ulti for that entire time. Did he have it the whole time, or did it just come up? I'm not sure, but if it was up that whole time, he is so patient. These boys just wailing on each other on the top. It's just funny to me, because both their auto-attack animations... Both of their auto-attack animations is kind of like a slap as Chudge. Oh, unstoppable force is going to be picking up the kill for Chudge in the top lane there. Alrighty. That's definitely good for them. Yeah. Yeah, he's also flexing, I believe it's the Transcendence diff. Oh, no, okay. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, everyone's here, and Furnos goes down in the mid lane as 4 people gank his lane. You hate to see it sometimes. Ezreal picks that one up too. Ezreal's really far ahead right now. He's got a 20 CS lead. He's almost got his tier finish, and he just got another kill. He's going to get Dragon Gold. He's going to get this Manamine really early, and as soon as he gets it, it will be fully stacked. He is going to be scary. That 2-item breakpoint for the Ezreal, Muramana, and Sunderer is a huge spike. He will start queuing Trundle for like a third of his health at that point with that max up damage. Yeah, the Q from Braum doesn't land, but that's still enough for Vex to want to go in on a Vex Alistair here, taking incredibly low, fleeing as well. The charge from Shelly's going to get a decent chunk of damage onto the tier 2 turret, which means first turret has been claimed by rawr here, and they have a decent chunk of kills in their pockets. This is a great lead start for rawr so far in this game. They have a whole lot that's going well for them so far. Hecarim's going right top to dive this Malphite, I'm sure of it. Oh, he spotted Trundle, so he doesn't want to. He knows the Malphite ulti's on cooldown, and he knows his Volley has it. He wants to go for it. Volley might just do it solo. Yeah. I think he's going to. It's stick underneath the turret. He's going to turn it off. Chudge is now in some trouble here. Oh. Looking to run away in the opposite direction, but right into the waiting arms of Hecarim. Jolas is able to find a kill for themselves, but now Doki is looking for a little bit more. Might have bitten off then a little bit more than he can chew here. Turfo underneath the turret as well. Here comes Infernoskin from the mid as well. They're going to try to get a collapse on a little bit more, but don't quite have the CC nor the movement speed in order to catch up. So it looks like it's just going to end up being the 2 top laners falling at the end of the day. Yeah, and really unfortunate there for Hitstick. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce their top laner's name in Malphite. So he goes for this trade here. It's actually a very good trade so far. He goes for the ulti and Malphite sidesteps it forward. Very impressive. Great pillar from the Trundle to keep him under tower. And then he just ults him and it's an easy kill from there. Doki is there to pick up the trade back, but Trundle's too strong with those stolen stats at that point to kill. Really unfortunate for Hitstick because what he saw was a good play. Malphite was just ready for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way you got to play, right? You have to bait out the Volibear ultimate because the animation is actually fairly long, right? And so if you're able to bait it out and you know that it's coming, you're going to be able to dodge around it fairly easily. You know, that scenario has to happen where you just kind of have to force Volibear to use it. You know it's coming. But, you know, other than that, like, the animation is fairly long. So being able to get to force him to use it and then be able to turn it around on him and turn it into a bad situation where you're peeling backwards. Because in that situation, if Doki was not there, that was a situation where Chuj lives, Zolas gets a kill, and it's a 1-for-0 in the top lane.
Yeah, and that honestly may take Hitstick out of the game. Like, we saw top lane before. We were pointing out, oh, top lane's struggling. He was down 20, 30 CS at that point. He's now basically, even in CS, less deaths and more KP. He's in a great spot. You know, he's down an item, like, Volibear has the Sunderer finished, but, oh, fight coming in here potentially. Flash away from the wall.
Yeah, that's a stun inside the gravity well here. Magic Collapse is taken to about 50% HP here. Sholas is looking for something here, but can't quite find it. I did want to comment that Sholas is sporting the lethal tempo, which it's okay here, but we'll talk about that in a bit here as Chuj might be caught out. Trundle Pillar comes through. The Troll Pole comes out. And they find a little bit more. The rest of the team, the red team is kind of split up here. Not quite one central unit as they're now able to dive onto Doki here, find one kill as Real Ultimate comes across, but the AoE damage is huge. They're able to finally turn it around. Hitstick now looking for more. Flash onto the other side here. Infernos trying to turn around and maybe trying to get a kill on the Turfo here, but not going to be able to find it. It's 4-for-1 in favor of rawr. They're going to get Rift Herald.
Yeah, that was a really, like, sporadic but well played on so many levels in so many different areas. Magic Collapse gets chunked hard here by Victor in the gravity well. Trundle loses a good chunk of his health to the Zillion as well. Zillion's dealing a lot of damage. And then Malphite sees, Volley sees blood here and he just goes straight at the Malphite. He knows he can kill him with his Braum coming. And as soon as that pillar comes out, it's just Doki going straight in on the split up members. He wants that Victor so badly. He wants him off the map. And Doki just goes too deep for it. Malphite just checks him straight up. Ezreal gets a massive ulti, massive stun from Zillion, and they just wombo combo with the Volibear ulti. So well played. And it's so clean from rawr. Like, you could not have played that much better on the discount. It was amazing. Ezreal now likely sitting on enough gold for the Manamune. He will probably have it. He won't actually have it for the Dragon. Won't have enough time to reset. Unless he really wanted to risk it for those next gates, but I don't think it's a good move. If he does have to go for the Manamune, I really would have liked to see him back because he's also really low on mana. And that, like I said, that Murmur spike is unbelievable with the Sunderer.
I wonder, like, he's definitely below 50% mana, but I wonder, like, flat amount, like, he's definitely fine, right? Like, he's got a fully stacked tier. He's got the fully stacked tier. That's 360 mana in his pockets already, right? But Kryptonic Killer might be caught out here. Great stun by Magic Collapse. Holy moly, Doki is going to come through here. That's the Glacial Fissure coming across, but Doki is 1v5 right now. Hisstick is finally teleported into the team right here. Ozra Ultimate comes across. It's a decent chunk of AoE damage, but once again, the frontliners are down. Vex Alistair goes right in, is going to get stunned right up and turned around on it immediately. Kryptonic Killer is still in this fight, still untouched. Zolas taken incredibly low here, might go down, has to get to the other side of the pillar. Attila versus Kryptonic Killer, 1v1, 1v2 now. Turfo taken incredibly low, can't tank all this damage. Kryptonic Killer still looking for the last bit of damage. Auto attack, Q, Ace! Kryptonic Killer gonna be the one coming through, gonna be picking up a kill, picking up the ace of themselves. Turfo, please don't take the dragon. Turfo, for the love of, oh my god.
Suddenly, Ezreal is full mana again.
Yeah.
TP coming in. Hex Dragon does so much damage. So what you see here is Doki goes way too deep. Should have used the ulti to get back to the rest of his team, but unfortunately used it on the Zai. It was a good ulti, but no follow-up on it. Ezreal ulti's big. Xayah is just free hitting this whole fight, but so is Ezreal, and Ezreal will have more value than a Xayah in a free hitting scenario like this, just because Ezreal has Sunderer. He's doing current health. He's doing percent health damage to their front line, as well as he has Conquer fully stacked for this entire fight. He's doing so much healing. He's doing so much damage, and all he has to do is avoid these feathers, and Attila just can't win it. He's doing way too much healing. He's too tanky, and he doesn't even need the man immune. He's just way too strong, and this Ezreal is fed out of his mind. Kryptonic Killer is showing, like I said, why people need to be banning his Ezreal.
Yeah. I mean, this was huge, and we're going to get a bit of a replay here because we didn't see the other end of that. Oh, okay, I guess not. We didn't see the other end of that teleport there, but we did see Doki go down while that replay was happening. Big thing for me here is that, you know, this kind of play from rawr here, even though they came up on top, was insanely shaky. They didn't quite coordinate when they were initiating. They had a bunch of kind of disjointed initiations across Hecarim, across Turfo, across Hitstick, even arriving a little late as well. And, you know, it's just a little like awkward, should I say. Awkward comes to mind when, you know, Doki has a decent initiation, gets a fear off of multiple targets, but ends up falling because it's a 1v5. Is now over the wall. Doki looking for the steal.
And
gets enough damage, stunned up damage. Does he get the smite though?
Got
Absolutely. Doki.
Wow. And I do want to point something out that I just realized. Look at Doki's build. I was wondering why he was dying so quickly. He like I've been every fight I've just been kind of confused because he's been so squishy, even though he's been playing very well and actually getting a lot of kills and, you know, assists, but he's Axiomark Hecarim. Again, no mythic. Doki is just allergic to mythics. He doesn't like Flash. He doesn't like mythics. You know, next thing, you know, he's just not going to build, you know, boots. It's getting a little strange. He also has weird garage sale items as well in his inventory. He's got a Sheen as well as a Tear. I'm not sure if the Tear's maybe just holding onto it for mana, but it looks like, is he going Essence Reaver? Or is he going to go Sunderer? I guess maybe he builds Sunderer with the Sheen?
Yeah. I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't hate Sunderer here because you do have a lot of HP stacking on the enemy team, right? Trinity Force has always traditionally been a very good item on Hecarim ever since his release. And so having that kind of item on Hecarim, like the Divine Sunderer, is definitely going to have a whole bunch of damage on it. It's just like, this is such a damage orient. This is like crazy. I haven't seen like a straight damage Hecarim in like a very, very long time.
Yeah, like I didn't see that since back when he used to go Ignite.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That was crazy times back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
for sure. I mean, this is such a, I agree. This is such a weird build. I'm not sure how I feel about it because I'm not sure how easy it's going to be for, it just seems to me like Hecarim isn't a champion that like is really good at bursting down champions, right? His damage comes from the fact that it's just sustained damage over a long period of time. It's the Qs and autos that he can just swing the lance around and get that damage that way, right? It's not like a Talon who uses, or a Zed that uses the Axiom arc, kills them in like a couple abilities and then moves on to the next target, right? And also, I'm not quite sure what he's going to be using the cooldown reduction for. Like, what is it for the speed up? Like, I'm not quite sure what we're utilizing this item for here.
It's for his ultimate, right? It reduces the cooldown on the ultimate, so I guess he wants the ultimate up for every scenario. And I guess this, like, my idea of his thinking is because Hecarim can burst people out, like his damage is based on movement speed. So like you E and you ghost and you'll do a ton of damage, and I guess he thinks with lethality he can just like one tap an ADC or something.
Yeah.
Which I guess is fair, but you take away a lot of the utility of Hecarim when you can't sustain yourself and draw attention in fights. And I don't really think Assassin Hecarim is the move. I mean, we're saying that like they're winning the game currently.
Yeah.
And we're saying that. So I mean, who are we to talk?
I would like to quote a semi-famous League of Legends caster, also Apex caster, Thousand Eyes, wonderful caster. We're very well known here around these parts for Zero Gravity Gaming. They say a whole lot, or she says a whole lot. You know, just because you won with it doesn't mean it's good. Um, it works. It definitely works. It definitely worked, but that doesn't mean it's good. You know, I'm sure that this Axiom arc will do well, and maybe they even win too. And then they'll go into Twitch chat and just like, haha, caster stupid, me good, me smart, and it's just like, yeah, sure, it worked the one time. But like, if you don't see like consistently other Hecarim players doing the same thing you're doing, perhaps it's not the smart thing to do.
But Shinkari, my friend, it is about this game. It is 1-1. This game is the deciding game, and he built Axiom Arc, and he is winning, and that is what matters.
Yeah, of course.
I side with Doki.
Okay. Okay.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I do not like. We're playing 4v5. Who hasn't? Sorry.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I am joking though. I do not think the Axiom Arc was the correct build whatsoever. I'm just memeing a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's good. Look, I picked up on the signals. Okay.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the top lane Chidge is gonna Hitstick might have been caught out here. He's definitely looking for Chidge real hard here. Got the burst damage, but that's gonna be unstoppable force.
Just point blank.
Unstoppable force at like very small distances is always funny to watch because there's always like this wind up, this really large sound at the other end of it too.
You just boom.
You've only moved an inch, right?
Yeah. All right, so Ezreal does have that Muramana completed. Has another Caulfield's and 2 long swords. I'm curious what that's building into. Unless I'm blanking on a normal Ezreal build that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what it is. What? Oh, Serylda's. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'm a little confused about the Caulfields then. Why not just go Last Whisper? I think it just offers you a lot more value. Tilla is gale forcing forward.
Yeah. Tilla is definitely in some trouble now. Has to use that Featherstorm defensively. Doki's taking it really low though, just like we said, a whole lot of damage, not a whole lot to live, but Ezreal's going to be the one picking up the kill there. That's going to be the Glacial Fissure coming across. Zolas now going to be able to find the shutdown onto Ezreal as this comes Chidge. Doki looking for the re-enter here. He's going to go down immediately. Now is Turfo taken incredibly low here. Zolas looking for the cleanup kill, going to be able to find it.
This Trundle
comes out on top.
This Trundle is so fed. He just got a 900 gold shutdown and then a 700 gold shutdown. He got both bot laners shutdowns. He is 7-4-2. He's got his own 550 gold shutdown. Let's see this again. Attila Gale Forcing Forward is a little weird. Doki whiffs the ult, almost one-shots Attila with the Axiom Arc. Kryptonic Killer does pick it up, though. Does get jumped on by the Trundle, who is very strong right now. Like I said, 900 right there. Runs right at the Braum right after. Doki, yeah. And the Braum just gets dropped right away. Another 700 right there to the Trundle. This Trundle is massive. I'm curious to see if he can carry this game because obviously Xayah is scaling and the Malphite's going to be useful, but this Trundle is going to do crazy damage this game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is really close here. As Zolas, and Chidge might be caught out here. Turfo, that's the unstoppable force coming through, but these blue HP bars have not moved. Here comes Doki in from the side, and the Arcane Barrage as well. Chudge goes down. Hitstick now looking for a little bit more here, but they're not going to be able to find it as that troll is long. Oh no, he's using the Hextech gates. Doki's looking for
there he is.
This is a horse on the hunt.
Zolas is doing the run
around here. Okay, here we go. Okay, there's the chomp, and now he's got more AD. Zolas is looking for it. There's the troll pole. There's the movement speed. Alistair here looking for Turfo as well. Good hook. Looking for a little bit more. Here comes Hitstick up to the top lane as well. Turfo jumps over. Here comes the depth charge across. Not going to be able to block that. Knocked into the air. Attila is now onto Turfo here. Flexed forward by Alistair. Looking for the damage here. Going to be able to find the kill on the Braum. Doki now running for their life one more time. Presses that run. Speed up button. Zolas, good. Troll pole. Going to be able to come through here. Can he still get it? Going to be stunned up again by Hitstick. They still can't kill Doki. They're going to make sure that Doki can build this whole lethality build and walk away from every single team fight to live to tell the tale. So that the stats on this build does not look bad.
Oh my gosh, Attila with a crazy E flash play there. I love to see that. It's a good Zai mechanic that you don't see a ton of people use, but it's one that good Zaya players will utilize when they see it. You know, obviously trading your flash like that's a little unlucky playing ADC. You don't really want to do that very much, but it's nice to see it. It's you know, I know Attila can do that. I've been playing around Attila for a long time. Wow, Zolas getting very close there.
Yeah,
Doki,
that smite execute came out huge as Doki
Doki can't even solo
1v
the dragon.
1v1ing the dragon here. Not going to be able to have the defenses to go through here, but Hitstick looking like he wants to fight as well. Vex Alistair throws her the hook, not going to land this time, but the Drake. Okay, here comes the teleport. It's coming through. Chud just looking for a little bit over the wall here. Alrighty.
So I'm not
Drake
sure.
goes down.
I'm not sure there, but from what it looked like, I think Doki wouldn't have been able to solo that dragon. It looked like he wasn't doing any damage to it, and he was getting smacked up by it. That Hextech dragon does a lot of damage, and Doki has now completed his Muramana, so
Yeah.
maybe those one shots will come through a bit more now. He's gonna have a better chunk of AD in his back pocket. With
I'm going to go with here. I feel like at this point it's just a matter of principle. They could build a Divine Sunderer, but at this point, you know, it's the
why would
principle
you?
that matter.
Yeah, what good would it do, right?
Yeah.
You know,
build
what
an
would you
essence
possibly
reaver.
gain from it?
Alrighty, that's going to be the fight right here. Turfo is going to get caught out. Glacial Fissure comes out. Zolas is taking incredibly low. Arcane Barrage comes across. These HP bars are looking pretty low, but there's not a whole lot of damage follow-up here. Turfo looking for a little bit more. Can't quite find it. Unstoppable Force underneath the turret here. They're going to look for the re-engage here. Onslaught of Shadow comes through. That's one red HP bar down, but they're looking for more. But one after another, the blue bars go down. Triple kill for the Trundle. Kryptonic Killer is the only member alive to tell the tale here. Can they find the last bit of damage? Ezreal has to flash outside the second half of that. Victor laser goes forward, mutually assured destruction. Victor and Ezreal both die in there, but they're gonna keep going. Vex Alistair, he's still going. He's still chugging along.
Take a tower.
He's
Executed.
to the turret. Hey, let's go. Yeah. Yeah, this might be game right here. Hyperion is going to close out the game against rawr right here. A pretty unfortunate ruling happened with regards to Magic Claps couldn't reconnect to the game. So this is going to be Hyperion closing out the series 2-1.
Again, it doesn't affect the playoff scene at all because of what happened in the other game today.
Yeah.
I mean, but Hyperion can come into playoffs in that bottom bracket, holding their heads high, knowing that they beat the top team, and they should have that confidence because this wasn't, you know, people will call it a fluke because, oh, Magic Claps DC, Zillion DC. They stood up to rawr and they fought them face to face. They did not back down at any point, and they should be proud of themselves, and they should be ready for rawr come playoffs if they get to them because they know they can beat them now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's still pretty fair to say that, like, hey, you know, we shouldn't put too much stock into this game number 3 and this series going 2-1 and Hyperion like 100%, right? But we should still take a look at these first 2 games here because, you know, rawr did lose game number 1 fair and square, and Hyperion Gaming did come into game number 2. And even though, like, rawr stopped, you know, doing shenanigans that they tried to do in game number 1, but Hyperion Gaming still in game number 2, like, was still like going toe to toe. Like, this was a still relatively even game. And then in game number 3, you know, I'll talk about that game up until Zillion disconnected, because once again, like, I'm not gonna throw this whole series away, right? But even up until that point, Hyperion was still doing a pretty good job of fighting against rawr for the most point. Like, it's still important to note that rawr, I don't think anything changes here. rawr is still first seed, Hyperion is still third seed, especially after the win by the team that MXL is going to remind me. Okay, he's good right now. Not a little birdie talking to my ear, but yeah, but it's, you know, it's it's still Hyperion Gaming did kind of prove themselves that like, hey, we might be third seed coming into playoffs, but we're still a force to be reckoned with. You know, we're still able to compete against some of the better teams in our group.
Yeah. I would call them a barely third seed. They were third seed because of something that was out of their hands.
Yeah.
So I would, in that situation, obviously you're not the second seed, but you can morally feel like the second seed, in my opinion, because barring someone else, affecting the situation, you would have been second seed. And you should feel that way because you just beat the top team. Whether or not someone DC'd or not, you put up a very convincing performance against one of the top teams in the league, and you should be very happy with that. And like I said, going into playoffs, this should boost their confidence heavily.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, despite that kind of unfortunate end to the series, I still don't think that there's a lot to take away here from Hyperion Gaming, and a lot to feel good about. For sure. Like most gold teams, there's still some patches that need to be fixed, right? Especially in game number 2 when I was talking and saying like, hey, Hyperion there was a lot of times where they were just kind of face checking where they didn't need to, right? And that was kind of like the biggest glaring error for Hyperion for me. And their support player just playing a little too aggressive. But for the most part, there's a lot of good to take away from Hyperion here for sure. And if you are some folks who do enjoy a Hyperion game, if you are a fan of Hyperion Gaming, there's a lot to like about this series for sure. But
definitely,
that's going to do it for us here. Thank you all so much for tuning into Zero Gravity Gaming this evening. GG's to both teams, but there can only be one victor at the end of the day, and today it is Hyperion Gaming. From myself, the entire live broadcast crew, Wonderworld, my co-caster for this evening, and MXL, our producer, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.